y'all, I'm Madison Walker.
And I'm AJ Risley.
Unfortunately, I'm injured this week, so I won't be playing the Green Mountain Championships.
Me too.
But I'm still here at Smuggler's Notch Resort in the beautiful state of Vermont.
Me too.
And I will be providing on-course commentary for the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
And I'm going to Disneyland.
Wait, what?
Yeah, for the Christmas Day Parade.
But I thought you were gonna be here.
This weekend, I'll be providing on-course commentary for the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
And me too.
Really? Madison will be walking with the FPO lead card.
And AJ will be walking with the MPO lead card.
So be sure to tune in at 9 a.m. Eastern on Friday for the FPO lead card and 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday for the MPO lead card.
Wait, aren't they already watching?
Oh yeah. Thanks for watching.
Hey, can I get a flight tray?
Sure.
Flight's ready.
The Raptor was created for a specific shot, a specific distance, and especially comfort. A lot of thought went into the design of the Raptor. We wanted to make a disc comparable to the Zone that just went a little bit further with that consistency. And with the Raptor, I really feel like we accomplished that.
This is the Pro Tour.
Hey, I'm Nate Doss, and I'm playing the Pro Tour.
I'm playing the Pro Tour.
I'm Ricky Wysocki, and I'm playing the Pro Tour.
This is the Pro Tour.
I'm Paul Macbeth, and this is the Pro Tour.
I'm playing the Pro Tour.
I am Kale Laviska. Dustin Keegan. I'm Big Germ, and this is the Pro Tour.
Say it better like you, say it more like you.
This is the Pro Tour.
I'm Sarah Hokom, and I'm playing the Pro Tour.
I'm Eric McCabe, and I'm playing the Pro Tour.
I am the Pro Tour.
I'm Will Schusterick, and this is the Pro Tour.
How's that cheese? Oh, this is gonna be good.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to third round coverage of the Female Pro Open here at Discraft's Green Mountain Championship, presented by GripEq at Smuggler's Notch. I'm Nate Doss. This is Valarie Jenkins here, four-time women's world champion Valarie Jenkins. We're excited to have this round here. We're now into moving day. This is Saturday, the third round, with tomorrow's championship round coming up in just 24 hours. But there's a little bit of rain today, a little bit of weather. They're playing in the woods. So, could be definitely an interesting day if we could get Johnny V to pull up that hole one preview. We'd love to take a look at hole one before we get to it. So, Val, break down hole one for us here.
All right, we're at Brewster Ridge. This is one of the two courses we're playing here at Smuggler's Notch. Hole one starts off pretty easy. It's a 315-foot par 3. Starts out slight anhyzer. We're going to see players throwing slow mid-range shots, trying to work that angle from left to right. Sarah Hokom, she's in our lead, so we're going to see a lot of sidearms out of Sarah. So, of course, sidearm on hole one. We have Kristin Tattar also in the group, Hailey King, and Rebecca Cox. So we're going to see a variety of shots, I think, from this group, and especially when we get into the woods, it'll be very interesting. People will be hung up. There'll be a lot of scrambling, so should be fun. So here we go.
Green Mountain Championship, presented by Grip and hosted by Smuggler's Notch. Our third round today is being contested on the Brewster Ridge course. This is our lead card starting at 9 a.m. First up on the tee, our current leader from Caldwell, Idaho, sporting a reasonably gaudy 5-stroke advantage. Let's hear it for Sarah Hokom.
You can see visibly the wind is already picking up. Looks like a strong headwind here on hole 1. Storm is coming in, Nate.
Yeah, we looked at the projections and we talked with Jeff, and Jeff really wasn't worried about Jeff spraying the TD. He wasn't worried about it too much. Jeff lives just about maybe 5,000 yards from where this tee is, just down the hill across the creek. But yeah, he wasn't worried too much. He's calling it more of a mountain mist more than anything. But I think, whoa, and wow, what a run there by our leader, Sarah Hokom. But yeah, just a mountain mist, and a little, probably the wind going to be more deadly than anything. Now, I would imagine Kristin being from Estonia, she's probably fairly used to some adverse conditions, as these players have to play in these rainy, windy conditions up there in Europe a little bit more frequently than we do here in the U.S.
Seeing next from West Bend, Wisconsin, Hailey King.
And I really liked Kristin's shot. It's nice and straight. As long as you can get it up the gut, you'll give yourself a putt. It's going to be a little bit of a trouble for Hailey on the left side there.
Leading this foursome from Cincinnati, Ohio, Rebecca Cox.
Oh, and a worm burner from Rebecca. We're going to take a very quick break, and we will catch up with these players on their next shots.
Today, we'll be talking about the Nuke. The Nuke is a wide-rimmed, fast, maximum distance driver. When throwing on a wide-open course with the Nuke, I'm using it to unleash maximum backhand distance potential. Due to its slim profile and wide rim, the Nuke also fits really well in the hand when throwing sidearms. If I'm looking to throw down some boom sauce, I'm going with the Nuke. You can pick one up at Discraft.com or your local disc golf retailer.
Good morning. I'm out here on hole 1 at Brewster Ridge with the FPO lead card. It's a little bit of a blustery morning. It looks like the front's going to move through in the next couple of hours, but with that there's going to be a ton of wind. Even though we're out in the woods, we can definitely feel it blowing. Hopefully we're done with the rain for the day, but we have umbrellas just in case. You guys stay tuned, and I'll be sticking with you guys all day. Back to the booth.
Yeah, back to the booth. All right, sure. That sounds like a good idea. And boy, the wind even bothering our on-course commentator, Madison Walker. But yeah, I mean, you heard her say, right? Maybe the rain's done for the day, and it seemed like it was raining a little bit earlier, but now the front's going to move through. So we're going to keep an eye on that wind all day long. Just as it was yesterday, it was difficult for us to tell how windy it was. And when our players were coming off the course, they were talking about the wind and really how much of a challenge it created. Now, we've played out here in the wind and the rain a couple of times, and definitely the woods protect the players quite a bit.
Yes, they do. And it is a tightly wooded course out here at Brewster Ridge. Just very technical shots, long fairways. We're going to see a lot of placement shots rather than the high-speed drivers. So I think those are keeping it in the fairway, sticking to a game plan, not getting too aggressive is really important to think about out here today. Hole 1 kind of just eases you into all that. I mean, you see this, and it looks like you're playing an older park course, but hole 2 really is where the course starts to get tricky.
Yeah, in fact, most of this Brewster Ridge course is comprised of a big network of cross-country skiing and snowshoeing trails for the patrons of the Smuggler's Notch Resort in the wintertime. Obviously, we are. Ooh, and Kristin Tattar continuing to putt well. That was something was basically the second biggest storyline behind Sarah Hokom's play yesterday was Kristin's putting. And she's continued to putt very, very well. Paul Macbeth-esque. Really, she made almost everything she looked at yesterday. So starting off on a hot note here on hole 1 for birdie.
And this is going to be the key here. We have Kristin 5 strokes back, Hailey 6 strokes back of Sarah. These are the two that are really going to be putting the pressure on, and they need to make these putts to keep that pressure on Sarah.
Right, and with that said, Sarah Hokom needs to continue to make these putts as well. She's putted well to this point. And just a little bit too much height. Again, I like the elevation from her. We sort of, of course, we understand and watch these players play a lot, so we kind of know what we're looking for. And I think height and elevation in Sarah's putting is definitely the key. And that was just a little bit too high.
I feel like the second battle that's going on, Rebecca Cox sitting at +7, but on the second card, Jessica Weiss is at +8, Paige Pierce +9, Kona Panis +11. They're right at Rebecca's tail. Nice putt there from Rebecca.
Yeah, I mean, certainly yesterday watching Rebecca play, we would not have imagined in normal circumstances that she would have continued to stay on our lead card. She didn't have a great day at all, but the win was difficult. She grinded it out towards the end, and she's stuck it out on our lead card here. And here will be our leader just tapping in for par. Let's take a look at hole 2, Val, as we start to head into these wooded fairways.
Hole 2, par 4, 550 feet. For me, my game plan is throwing mid-range shots, slower drivers. I like to land about in this area. Then your second shot is more of a hyzer toward the basket, working your way. I mean, you see where you have to throw. There's not many other options than that. We have the rock wall that is out of bounds on the right-hand side, and the fairway works back to the right. So it's all about placement, making sure you're landing yourself in an open position to allow yourself a full throw, a full reach back, and you can execute the next shot. So pretty simple. Just stay in the fairway here on hole 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a common thread, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of these holes, especially when we get to the middle part of the course where we play some wooded holes. We go out into some one grassy hole, and then go right back into the woods. And there are par 4s and par 4s out here. No par 5s on this course, but yeah, it's the tricky angles, and OBs. I mean, there's still OB lines in the woods here, and that's something that can really get our players.
Absolutely. You're 1 inch off, you hit a tree, and you find yourself bouncing to the out of bounds. So that's what makes out of bounds in the woods really difficult. So keeping it low, keeping it in the fairway.
Yeah, and to this point, and we have to remember that our entire women's field is not through the whole course yet. So we don't have full statistics for this third round, but hole 2 is playing the most difficult, 1.22 over par. And so it's definitely one of those things to think about. It's a very difficult hole. And again, to me, it's just the angles, because from this tee, I was always trying to get up to where the fairway sort of jogged off to the right, but it's a long ways up there.
And slightly uphill as you go.
Yeah. Ooh, big skip. It's going to be on the edge, probably more a chip from that point. It'd be a tough stance. We see the disc there. I have a few trees in the way, as we'll see that all day long.
And that was the main thing about not throwing a driver. I didn't want those fast skips either way. Slowing it down, keeping it in the middle. Turning it over a little bit too much. She's going to be on the left-hand side of the fairway, but
Yeah,
I think she made it up there a ways.
She got into the tall grass, so it's not often that we would see a shot over there. That's a complete sort of complete turn it over. She's out of the cut fairway area.
That was a layup shot, but got an unfortunate skip off a root or a rock, possibly. But she's safe.
Oh boy, needs to get down. That's not going to get down. That's going to go OB. So we have some players in trouble. Wind affecting all of them. And let's take a quick break. We'll check in with you in a minute.
Okay, huge news, guys. The new DGA Rift has so much glide that it just broke the national MTA record by 37 hours. Go get one for yourself at discgolf.com.
Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag. Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag.
So one of the most challenging things on this course, especially when you go out of bounds, is that a lot of the times the out of bounds are marked by rock walls. Again, we see a lot of rock walls down in Massachusetts, and that is extended all the way up here. You know, people back in the day clearing walkways, clearing areas that they could graze or grow on or do something with, and they had to move all these rocks out of the way. So you end up with a lot of these rock walls, but 1 meter off that is still going to be in the rocks. And so it's going to be a difficult stance here for Rebecca. We have to remember that Rebecca Cox was the leader coming out of the round on this course from Thursday. So she's certainly have had good thoughts and good memories of this course. And when I went back and looked at her round ballot, she started off not great. She bogeyed 1 and 18. Starting and finishing not great, but played really well in the middle. I think at one point streaking, I believe, 4 birdies together in a row, or 4 or 5. So, yeah, it was, something that Rebecca's certainly feeling good about.
And she did end up shooting a 2 down for the round. So that was the hot score of the day, tied up with Sarah Hokom, who also shot a 2 down. So there were hot scores on this course in the very first round. When I like that, seemed to hyze her out a little bit. She should be landing right, if not just on the edge of the fairway.
Yeah, I think she's in an okay position from there to chip up She still has half the fairway to go, but she got it up there pretty good. I think via our interviews from Madison yesterday during the men's round, I thought Simon Lizotte really summed it up well. This course, there's really one way to play it. There's no aggressive line, non-aggressive line, layup line. There's none of that. There's really, in my opinion, just sort of, it is what it is. I mean, the fairways are there. You got to keep it in the middle. You don't want to be off on the edges. So, we heard from some of our players yesterday, them saying, oh, I tried to play this safe or that safe, and it took them out of their game plan. But I think today, I really don't think there is any of that. I think it's just your game plan is what it is, and you just have to try to navigate the wind.
And I think the game plan starts on the tee pad.
Certainly.
You throw that first throw, and then things just have to change up regarding wherever your shot lands. So I'm sure this isn't part of Sarah Hokom's game plan, but you do have to set yourself up, plan it out, figure out your strategy. But in the woods, you never know what's going to happen. So just got to think on the fly. You got to be strategic. You got to be tricky here in the woods. I do think there still is that. You're going aggressive, you're going for shots, or like right now, Sarah could just pitch out. So what kind of mentality are you having throughout the day?
I guess there certainly is a bit of that. You're right. Off the tee pad, I think everything's laid out for you. But once you get into these positions, how aggressive? You're just going to take your medicine. You're going to try to get what you can get. Now, of course, we know from the statistics from the first round, Sarah's scramble rate was really strong. And so, she's certainly feeling like she's got that scrambling thing down, and that could maybe bite her. And forecasting just a little bit for me, not weather, but scores. I would say, this is an early prediction, we still have 35 or 34 and a half holes to play. But I think 200 par, where Sarah Hokom is now, will be the winning score if she was at it. I don't know what the winning score will be, but I don't think the winning score will be lower than 200 par. Certainly with the weather conditions. So what I'm saying is if Sarah Hokom were to shoot even par from here on out, I think she wins. Because you'd have to think Kristin Tattar would have to shoot 5 under for those holes. King would have to shoot 7 under. There's a lot of tough scenarios out there. Paige Pierce would have to go just on an absolute barrage of birdies, which she can do. But Hokom could do herself a lot of favor by just keeping that number there. And I think she walks away with the trophy.
That's a good point, because one thing we've seen out of Sarah is steady golf.
Mm-hmm.
Even in this round that she played here at Brewster Ridge, it was just very steady, a very clean scorecard. Not a lot of birdies and not a lot of bogeys, just keeping those pars alive and saving those pars. And that's what it takes out on these challenging courses like this. It's exactly what you said. Keep it even par and she'll be doing just great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's pretty amazing that everyone in this group can throw a sidearm when they need to. Even Rebecca Cox, we haven't seen her throw a lot of sidearms in any of the rounds that we've covered with her. And she threw a sidearm on hole 1 already. So getting stuck in positions where you've got to reach out, you got to straddle out and throw a sidearm, we're going to see that a lot out of this group.
Now this is going to be Hailey's third shot. She got caught up on that right side, was unable to really go too far forward. Now has this shot here. She's got on a beautiful line, asking for it to sit. Stay away from that wall, and she's going to have a long par putt from there up the hill.
No, Sarah's not re-teeing.
No.
But this does set yourself up for a pretty good angle to the basket.
Yeah, really, that tee right there is sort of an absolutely perfect tee shot. I mean, if you're driving from the gold tee, get up here to this one, you've put yourself in a great position. Sarah has to navigate some of the rocks that define this tee pad, and that's going to create a tough little stance for her. Something not necessarily that she wants to think about. The very doable shot here to get it up and in for par. And it snuck a ways up there. It's on the trail to the next tee pad, actually, it looks like. And probably not a makeable putt from there. But you never know. Paul McBeth showed us that yesterday. You can never predict anything when you're sitting in these seats. So yeah, we could maybe see Sarah do something crazy there. One thing I'll notice right off the bat, I've seen 2 snap hooks from Sarah Hokom in a row now, off the tee and now in the fairway. So we'll keep an eye on that. Not a good thing to have happening in the woods on this course.
And it's so tough too, because you're never going to have a chance to actually really fly it out, really extend and work on dialing in your drive because you're so constricted in the woods. You never know what kind of shot you're going to have, if you're going to be able to unleash and actually do a full out drive. So Sarah's got to kind of zone it in, focus internally, and hopefully she'll get that drive back in line.
And I really want to reiterate to all of our fans back home that this course, while, and we've certainly talked quite a bit here in just the first few minutes about how wooded it is, and it's very clean. It's a very clean wooded course. I mean, you play down the middle, you're going to have clean, open shots. So execution is key here. It's not as if it's impossible. Certainly, we saw under par rounds from our ladies in the first round. Kristin able to trickle it up there. We're going to see another mid-range putt from her. But we don't want to make it seem like this is not a great course. This is one of the best wooded courses in the Northeast. There's no doubt. The manicuring on this course is unbelievable. The ground play, while there's some rocks and roots, there's not a lot of other stuff going on. They've kept it very, very clean. It's one of the most premier courses in all the country. So, keep it in the fairway, keep it in the middle. You should be at this level able to execute, good shots.
We're finally getting closer to the basket here. We can see the flag for circle 2. Some of these holes just seem like they go on forever here in the woods. Par 4, 550 feet. And just as I said, players are using a lot of sidearms. We're going to see Sarah Hokom having to rely on a backhand once in a while here in the woods. And very nicely done. Some style points there as it circles around the pin. Perfect shot. Ooh, Hailey King giving it a good run. Kristin Tattar putting for par. I'm a poet and I don't even know it.
Yes, our best par opportunity here.
Come
and
on.
look at that. Yeah,
roll that Zuka
let's roll
replay.
it. Roll the
Poet and I don't even know it.
Yes, our best par opportunity here.
Come
and
on.
look at that. I'm so comfortable. Man, what a beautiful par putt there by Kristin. Man, I think Kristin's come ready to play. Hokom better keep an eye out for Kristin. She's going to be shooting up that leaderboard.
Her game is just so incredibly solid. We watched her, and big roll for Rebecca. But Kristin's game, we watched her play at the MVP Open, and there was nothing that just fireworks, but these putts are now her standout part of her game. She is such a strong player, though, overall. Her throws are so smooth. There's no hitch to them. It's really great to watch her throw, and it's just such pure form in every part of it. Oh, and great save there from Rebecca.
Yeah, that's going to be Rebecca for double bogey, but still could have been a triple bogey. So I think we in the booth always, we respect every stroke saving stroke out there, I guess. And
especially a big putt like that. That was huge.
So bunch of plus strokes here for our lead card, and hole 2's in the books. Let's take a look at hole 3, the very gettable hole 3, Val.
Here we go. Hole 3, 325 feet, par 3. It's very uphill off of the drive. I'm throwing a fairway driver. The distance tells me I want to throw something like a mid-range, but I've always found better opportunities when I'm throwing a fairway driver, something a little bit faster so that I can climb up the elevation and get to the basket. It's all about that depth perception, and I think a lot of players on this hole leave it short. And so the key here is at least getting it up to the distance of the basket, because you can't see it from the tee, and giving yourself an opportunity to putt. A little bit of elevation where the basket is placed. So putts should be close within the circle if you're going to even run for it.
Yeah, it's a very gettable hole, 325. Certainly all varying degrees of arm speed and distance throwing. We see our statistics here, 11% birdies. So that's pretty good, 11% circle one. So it seems like everything that's been in the circle has been dropped in. So that's good. Yeah, I mean, the guys are going to be throwing mid-ranges, putters, things like that maybe. But the ladies, I think mid-ranges and fairway drivers are certainly the speed of choice here.
Gets hung up there at those trees. We're going to see, a lot of pars. If you're not within that circle, you're just going to be laying up for par. It's just the hill is in front of you so much that you feel that you have to throw it so high. When you throw it, the higher you throw it, the less distance you're going to get, less opportunities to make it inside the circle.
Yeah, and you did mention you cannot see the basket, but that pine tree straight away that Sarah's just in line with there is the one that is right next to the basket. So you have a clear reference of line. Anyways, the hailstorm. That's Hailey's nickname. Oh, she's got it on
I like
beautiful
that
line. There you go. That'll be a birdie for sure. Beautiful shot there by Hailey.
Another worm burner from Rebecca. All 4 players are off. We're going to catch up with Rebecca on her shot. Wow, and just catching Rebecca's shot, but firing it past. Her putt's looking strong, so hopefully this isn't too much of a scary putt for Rebecca, but she's past the basket. She's got about a 15, 20 footer to save her par. And I've actually never been over here. I always flail it off and...
Oh yeah, you're not throwing a lot of sidearms.
Yeah, I've never turned it over on this hole.
Right,
As much as I've not parked this hole, I'm always ending up on the left-hand side, but yeah, the view from here is not too bad for Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah found a little clean sort of area just for a nice little pitch up. She's done that, put it around the pine and right next to the basket, so she'll have a tap-in par. I would see, even though Kristin's been putting well, I'm assuming it's just a layup, yeah. A great one at that, but still in her range, of course. And now we're just going to see Rebecca, who you know, from that distance, she put it a little long, makeable for sure. And there we go, Rebecca able to get that up and in for her par. Nice solid putt there. Right up and over the rim. See Kristin just tapping in. Hailstorm coming in for the birdie. Boom, nice. Played that beautifully. It's not that difficult of a hole, but Hailey just making it look really, really easy. And there we go. Sarah tapping it in as well. So let's go ahead to hole 4. Let's take a look at what our players have coming up here.
Hole 4. Man, these fairways are looking more beautiful each and every year with the grass growing in the fairway. Starts off with choosing which line to go. If you're going to go around that big tree on the right, or if you're going to go straight up the gut. I like landing right here. That's the perfect spot. Set you up for your second shot, which hopefully lands around here. Now the fairway starts to turn toward the basket on the right-hand side, and you're looking for your third shot to land here. It is a par 4. So I think pretty much if you're playing perfect shots down the fairway, you're going to get your par. I think these pars are set up to where, I mean, you hope that you get par, but they're very challenging pars still. You're in the woods. The fairways are just so tight. You have to hit the line so perfectly, and you really can't go for it and make up for shots if you didn't get the first shot off well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you, do we see a lot of birdies on this hole from our women's players, or it's averaging the second most difficult, after hole 2. We saw how our players played hole 2, 575 up the hill. I mean, it's up there.
It's way up there. And for players, a really great shot off of the tee is landing around that big tree where I said, so that second shot is just huge.
Right.
And so technical through the trees and finishing off to the right. So curing that shot is what you would have to do to even give yourself a look at a birdie.
Nice little bounce there. Boy, a lot of ground play there for Kristin. Yeah, I mean, it's way up there. I mean, the basket is this part of the fairway is sort of sloping up, and then the middle part of the fairway really kind of goes up even more. So, yeah, and with them moving the basket back into the right, I think you're right. I think a par is a good solid score here.
And even for Sarah, I was thinking she'd probably be the only one that could push this drive a little bit farther up the fairway. But still, she's landing around that big tree on the corner. Go to the left.
It's okay. She's in an okay position there. We'll see how our players lay out here in just a second.
Can I list off every DGA disc in just 10 seconds? Well, yeah, of course I can. I can talk fast. I'm good at planning ahead. You're running out of time. Okay, well, that's not helping. All right, number 1.
We're back here with Sarah. She's playing the tee-pad game. This is the second time we've seen her, although she has a much better ground play here. She doesn't have to worry about that tee-pad. Now, she looks like she's just got a beautiful line up this hill. She's in a good position.
Very good position. And looking at the tee sign, she's still 390 feet from the basket.
Right. And getting off on the side. Oh, she found a little bit of an opening there, so should be able to execute. Oh, there goes the umbrella. Umbrella getting blown around a little bit. And started to sprinkle there for just a second. Here we go. Looking down at UDisc Live, if you're following along with us here live on our live coverage, we're looking at UDisc. And the one thing that I noticed, although there's no fireworks from Paige Pierce just yet, she's the only one with no color on her scorecard. So she's got all pars at this point, and that could be a good thing. We won't find out till the round's over, but she's certainly starting off playing pretty well, pretty solid. Hailey took a bad kick there to the left. Maybe continuing to fight up this fairway.
It's so interesting looking at disc because there is so much color on everybody else's scorecards, blue or orange. Especially playing these par fours, we're seeing a lot of orange. But yeah, looks like Paige didn't even start yet. It's just all pars right now. And this is the perfect position to be in.
Yeah, it really is.
Can she do it again?
Yeah,
that's what this course demands. Perfect shot after perfect shot.
Right. Well, I like that line. If it misses at all.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Incredible shot.
It's a good shot. I wouldn't call it incredible because incredible would be up by that basket, but right there in the middle, she's going to have just a chip up to the basket. Should be an easy drop-in par. But yeah, it was a very nicely executed shot up that hill.
I would be very stoked about that shot. And great disc choice, too. You saw how she released it on that hyzer angle, the way it flipped up. She put enough power on it, flipped up, but still had enough stability to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So great disc choice from Kristin to allow it to gain that distance. If she threw something a little more stable, it would have hyzered out pretty much immediately. So really working those discs.
And I mean, we made the statement before the lady started playing the hole. Par is a great score. And Kristin's put herself in tremendous position to execute said par. That's a good thing for sure. Hailey took a pretty bad kick actually away from the middle of the fairway. She's going to have some quite a few trees to navigate from here moving forward. You can see there, Hailey's getting hot. She's got short sleeve t-shirt on. Now she's going to the shorts. Now we see most of our cameramen as well as all the other players completely bundled up. Now Hailey, I believe, is from Wisconsin, so good with the extreme conditions of Wisconsin. Feeling comfortable here.
A nice angle for Rebecca to attack the shot. Oh, and she hits the line. Can it? Just a little short, but still a nice shot. She's going to be looking at her putt for par. A round like this is just so mentally challenging. It takes everything you got to focus on hitting that exact line and making sure you're releasing in that exact angle. Just flaring it out to the right-hand side. Kicks her in the middle, thankfully. There is that rock wall that is out of bounds, so didn't add a stroke in that way.
Hailey playing pretty quickly, kind of got through that little branch, kicked her up towards the basket. She's got a little uphill little putt, and you can kind of hear it in the background there. You hear the tops of those maple trees sort of blowing around, but down here in the woods, we see just a little light breeze. So not much, but more than something, you know, more than nothing, I guess. Now we'll see what Hokom's left herself with. She did kind of finish off to the right. She found an opening as far as her lie is concerned, but we'll see what she's got to deal with here. Looks like she's going to go for the hyzer line, so I don't think she can go straight. She's going to have to go out and around that tree with the sign on it. About a 20-footer up the hill for her par, left for Hokom. It's an interesting sort of scenario because the pressure is being continually put on Sarah here. Kristin's been in good position. She's made a birdie already. She's been able to save par. Sort of at this point, there's no pressure on Kristin. She's just kind of playing her game. And so, you know, if she can nestle this one in there, going to put a little bit more pressure on Sarah and could get one stroke closer, possibly. And, you know, when you're 5 strokes back, it's just about kind of getting them back when you can.
And nice upshot, and even almost a little baby run. But she set herself up so perfectly all down the fairway. And that third shot was, I mean, that's how I drew it up, right? That was the game plan.
Pretty much, yeah. That's exactly how you drew it up. So executing it beautifully. And really, there's been no birdies on this hole at all. So the way she played it is exactly the way she would have wanted to.
I love when that happens. It's
Me
not
too.
all the time, but when that happens, you play it exactly how you want. Can't be much happier than that.
So Rebecca just not able to get the elevation on her putt that was needed. Just a few feet in front of her is now Sarah. In my opinion, I know we're only on hole 4 of this third round here at the Green Mountain Championship, but I think this is a little bit of a statement putt here for Sarah. And there we go. That statement is made. Sarah's ready for the game today and making that putt, just barely missing the putt on one, but that was a solid putt on that right side. Good elevation. Hailey able to just sneak it up and over there. So that's going to be Hailey for bogey as she got caught up there in the middle part of this par 4. Well, Hailey will lose a stroke as well as Rebecca here. There we go. And Kristin able to just tap in. After we see this tap in, we are going to move over and check in with Madison Walker, kind of see how our players are feeling, how our weather conditions are. Let's go and head on over to Madison.
Hey there, we're back out here at Brewster Ridge. We just finished up hole 4. Weirdly, even though it is raining and blustery, there are some galleries out there. They're just not with the lead card. They're with the second card, which is Jessica Weiss, Paige Pierce, Kona Panis, and Katrina Allen. Even though these ladies started out the day at, I believe, 8 strokes behind Sarah Hokom in first place, and even though none of them have made their way up into the second card, made any moves, the gallery remains with them and watches them. It's a little bit puzzling because these lead card ladies are absolutely murdering out here in these blustery conditions, but I'm glad that I get to sit here and watch them, and I'm hoping that the gallery will change pace in the days coming. Thank you guys, and we'll check back in a few holes. Back to the booth.
We are back here on hole 5. Thank you, Madison, for that update. Does feel like we're the only ones out here, right, Nate?
Ooh, and Kristin immediately went left. I did not see where it kicked, but that's an OB line on that side. So
we're at a 285-foot hole OB on the entire left-hand side. The right-hand side, all clear. This shot just follows that gravel road. And as you see that lit up tree in the distance, that's where you want your disc to start turning right. So it does have this right finish, which sets up really well for the sidearm or a slow flying mid-range.
oh, Sarah's got this beautifully executed. What a shot.
And we know we see the mulch, so we got to be getting close to the basket.
Yeah, she's just down the hill. We'll see the camera right there. So nice shot there by Sarah. Looks like Kristin might take a bogey depending on the kick, or maybe more. Sarah's got it in there tight for a birdie opportunity. Hailey doing the same. Oh, good kick. Good kick. She's still going to have a birdie, long birdie look. Nice shot by Hokom. I mean, at a big moment. This is a tough hole. It's short distance-wise, but man, that OB on the left looms so close. Ooh.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot. Awesome shot from Rebecca. We're going to catch up with Kristin's shot in just a minute.
And as we come back out of that commercial break, we do want to throw a big thanks to Grip Equipment for their sponsorship of the Disc Golf Pro Tour as well as this event. They were a huge addition to the sponsorship of this tournament. So big thanks to Grip Equipment. Now, Kristin was OB, and so that's now her third shot. She's going to have that putt for bogey. And I think she's actually going to be outside where Hokom's looking for birdie. So that stroke or two she's gained up to this point, she could lose right away. Just in one hole. That's how quick it can happen on both ends of things. You know, for Kristin Tattar, but also for Sarah Hokom. And Sarah's executed a beautiful shot here, giving herself an opportunity. Now, for all of you people at home, you see a beautiful look there of Hailey lining up. If you were curious if the players knew what was going on around them, I think, oh, there we go. Wow, nice. That was an incredible shot right there. And if you were curious if the players knew what was going on around them, I think, oh, there we go. Wow, nice.
Right in the heart of the chains. Beautiful shot from Hailey.
Big time. That's huge. That's a big putt there. That's a stroke gained after losing one on the last hole. So nice recovery there for Hailey. But, we heard Macbeth say it yesterday. We just heard Madison Walker reference it now. Sort of curious about the galleries. When I was playing, I never really cared. I mean, if there was 2 people or 100 people, it didn't really matter any difference. But are players aware that the gallery is, oh, Kristin, sit down. She's going to take a double bogey here on hole 5. But yeah, players aware, that the galleries are following. At this point, they're following a 5-time world champion, with Paige Pierce, and, wanted to be a part of history, or she was going to have some incredible, amazing round. And these players can't worry about that. They have to worry about what's at hand and focus on what is the most important thing, which is playing well here in moving day, our 3rd round. You see Sarah Hokom lining up for birdie.
Nice. Great putt there from Sarah. Putts are looking very solid, and that's what's going to keep her in it. Everything else has been right in the middle. Her upshots have been very nice, but her putting can be on or off. And right now, she's on. And that's going to make up big strokes right there, separating that gap even more from Kristin Tattar. Good putt there from Rebecca. Nice big putts. Everything's downhill. So they're risking flying past the basket, and you've got that big recovery putt, but
yeah,
not a problem for this group.
Right, yeah. Basket was open for business. That's 3 birdies and a double bogey for Kristin Tattar. We'll take a look now at hole 6.
Hole 6, 365 feet. Creeping up slowly. You only have one shot here, but the fairway, starts to move off to the left. Very sharp turn here. And it's all dirt, so you can rely on those skip shots as you make your way to the basket. Hopefully not skipping too far left, but it's pretty wide open. The trees aren't tucked too close to the basket, leaving a lot of room. So even if you are left or right, you'll still have an opportunity to make your putt.
Yeah, hole 6 is definitely one of those. I kind of feel like if you get it on the right line, you kind of just funnel down to the basket. It's really a defined fairway, but not in a straight way, but just makes that curve the whole way down. If you're too long, you're too short, you start getting caught up. But that fairway that if you get the right line, you're going to be pretty much just, guiding it right down to the basket. It's all downhill. Everything just funnels right on down. So yeah, that's hole 6 for you. But let's take a look at the top 10. Paige Pierce, boom, right there. Even par for the day. And I think Madison mentioned that she was, 9 strokes. Well, she's 11 strokes back, actually, of our leader. So, yeah, why is the gallery following her? Well, she's a 5-time world champ. So
yeah, and there's still another round to go. So tomorrow's round, I expect that the galleries will be forming to see a winner and to see the champion of this tournament be crowned. But today, it's still moving day, and they're expecting to see players like Paige Pierce, Jessica Weiss making those moves. So they're looking for the show. I mean,
Right.
You can't blame them.
Yeah.
But we've got a good show going on right now. Sarah Hokom just extending that lead a little bit more. She's back at 2 under. So just where she started.
Yep.
And we are back on the tee with Sarah Hokom.
I'm just sitting here trying to think of a good gallery name for Paige Pierce. Maybe I just can't. Nothing's coming to mind.
Oh, I'm sure you'll think of something.
I'll try to. Ooh, Hokom's got that snapped over and decent kick, though. It kept her in the middle. So, she should be able to execute from that point.
This is a sloping fairway downhill toward the basket. Ooh.
And that's what I'm talking about. See, she's got it on that line. Doesn't have enough forward penetration They're going to come up on the left side a little short, but got all the way through. We just saw Hailey nail a putt of about that length on the last hole, so not out of her range whatsoever.
I think the ideal shot is just a little bit lower, a little bit more flat, so it is able to carry and reach the basket. I've seen Hailey had plenty of power on that. It's one of those holes, you throw it, you hope you hit the right line. If it looks good, but you never know where your shot's going to end up till you walk up to the basket. Oh, I like this one.
It's a little deep, but she's gotten through very nicely. Snuck through that backside wall of trees, and she's going to have looks like a straddle putt, but a close one. Nice inside the circle. Oh, I like this too. Oh, and it's the middle tree. Oh, that's the one you got to beat. Oh, it was still a good shot, though. So we're going to take a short break. We'll catch up with Sarah Hokom here in just about 45 seconds. You can see here Sarah Hokom just on the right side of the fairway. It looks as if the course staff has got this area seeded out. We got some hay laid down, so by the time we get here next year, probably see this whole area fully grassed out, which is just, I mean, again, it goes to show you, you know, how much work they do out here to make this place look as nice as it does.
This is a fast green, so Sarah's got to be careful on the speed she puts behind this upshot. Perfectly executed.
Yeah, keep that scramble rate going strong. A beautiful upshot there. That's going to be a tap-in par for Sarah. Just hearing from in our ear that supposedly the course staff seeded that area about a month ago, and as I said, we'll see grass there next year. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it just goes to show you how much Smuggs cares about their course. This is a pay to play course in the state of Vermont. They take care of it, just as you would expect. So upshot there from Kristin.
And they've been running so many large events out here at Smuggler's Notch in the recent years. They had the Masters World Championships. They've had the Professional World Championships. They had Junior National Championships. So they're setting up this stage for amazing disc golf, these major championships. And it really is such a fun place to spend a week, spend a weekend. So if you do have the opportunity to take a vacation, Smuggler's Notch is one of those places you should come visit. These two courses on property, over at the resort. It's America's family resort, so there's so many activity to do over there. They've got multiple pools and mountain biking and all sorts of other classes you can take. And that countless hikes and swimming spots and all the things that just are free activity around the resort is pretty amazing too. So we know that the Pro Tour, when they come through this area, they're out adventuring when they're done with their rounds.
Yeah, we heard Paige Pierce mention yesterday that she had gone on a hike after the first round, but was going to just relax last night. Speaking of Paige Pierce, she's picked up her first birdie. And speaking of Rebecca Cox, that's her birdie right there. So nice job by Rebecca.
There we go. First birdie on the card for Rebecca today.
Yeah, I was going to say that's back-to-back birdies, I believe, for her.
Oh, my bad. You just didn't update that last birdie.
And now we see Kristin tapping in her par. So a couple pars. Well, 3 pars and 1 birdie. So let's go ahead over and take a look at hole 7.
Look at how beautiful this hole is. My goodness. Thank you to Savage Ultimate for sponsoring hole 7 here. Starts off with a very straight drive off the tee. There is this shot where you can finish early off to the left and take this inside route. I think this is the shot that we're going to see most of our FPO division taking. There is a longer shot. If you throw it a little bit straighter, you can really, it's more of a dog leg hole for that distance, but it's very difficult to reach that angle. You're going to have a lot of woods play depending on where you land off your drive, and it's all about where you land to how easy your upshot's going to be. There's no easy way about this hole. I think the drive is important to get yourself as much distance off the tee, and then you're just kind of scrambling from there to get up to the basket.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those holes that there's not a true clear line. Even if you were to hit the inside line perfectly, you're going to have some trees to navigate on the second half. Even if you take the long straightway, I guess the long straightway, if you get it into the perfect zone, you could have a completely clear route up to the basket. But ultimately, this is definitely one of those ones. And Paige Pierce just birdied this hole, so it is gettable by our ladies. Ooh, and Rebecca just pulled it immediately. Kicked around. There's no OB line there, so no worries on that rock wall. One of the things we got to remember is that it's a little chilly, although you couldn't tell that by what Hailey's wearing, but it's a little chilly, it's a little wet, and so maybe Rebecca just didn't have a good grip on that, or maybe too good of a grip because she grip locked it.
See, in the distance, she was shaking her hand out.
Right.
She was a little bit numb, and those fingertips are cold. Those power shots really hurt.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Looks like Sarah was a little frustrated with that, maybe too much on the inside. Oh, I like it. I like it. She can find up. Oh, she's got a little 4-pack of trees there, but she's got it pretty far out there. Should be able to find a line up towards that basket.
Oh, and this is low. Looks like she's going for that long shot.
Loving that. Oh, right on the tee pad.
And you know that's in prime position. We're going to take a break. We'll catch up with you in a minute.
Today, we're talking about the Undertaker. The Undertaker is a fairway driver, and for advanced players, it will be pretty straight, but for the newer player, it'll be a good first control driver. For me, the Undertaker is the perfect point-and-shoot fairway driver, both in the woods and out in the open. If I'm throwing at a target that's straight ahead, I'm going with the Undertaker every time. It's just really straight. You can pick one up at discraft.com or your local disc golf retailer.
Hey, GMC viewers, go buy a mock shift basket from DGA, putt on it one time every other month, and see if your putting improves by like 200%. It probably won't because that's not very consistent practice, but man, wouldn't that be awesome?
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8. See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
We are back here, and Rebecca, during our break there, was just sort of trying to get her stance. She's got a couple of different discs here. At this point, she's kind of set up on that inside line. You can see a short tee just ahead of her. Nice recovery shot there by Rebecca, able to get it up into a decent zone there. She's going to have to navigate a little bit of trickiness coming up, but ultimately did well to get herself in position. Gosh, and just, I mean, yeah, there's trees, but look at the ground. I mean, it's just so beautifully manicured. It's unbelievable how well they've done. So I just can't say it enough. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's so clean.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of underbrush.
Now, a name, by the way, on UDisc, it's pretty far down the list. She's tied for 9th. Holly Finley has our hot score on the course. She's 2 under par. She bogeyed hole 1, but has picked up 3 birdies since. So Holly playing a really nice round, a couple of groups up there.
Holly loves wooded courses like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is like her dream zone.
Right.
There's some courses that we've played out on tour, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been walking off of them like in a daze. Wow, there's just so many trees. That is Holly Finley's zone. So I'm sure she's just enjoying this to the max today. And clearly shooting a really good round.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Sarah Hokom getting tricky with a roller. There are roots, there are rocks, but like Nate was saying, pretty clean ground.
I think she's just trying to get it up there as far as she can. I don't love this play. But she put herself in an okay position there. It looks fairly clear. A couple trees to navigate, but she should have a look. But man, Kristin Tattar's drive is just in the perfect spot. That's what I was saying. If you play that long straight look, you have a fairway from there up to the basket that's very clean and clear. She's going to have the biggest advantage here.
And it is such a tough line that she hit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she trusted that disc completely to fly like a frozen rope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was so straight. So from where Kristin landed, that tee box, the red tee box she landed next to, 340 feet from the basket. And very clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's going to have a nice
hyzer, straight hyzer.
Yeah, straight hyzer. This can finish off where it naturally wants to fly. Hopefully her footing is good enough to give her a little bit of a run up.
Yeah, boy, she's actually got to the position where she's going to have to throw a nice little S shot, little turnover, and flex it back to the basket. This is exactly where I would want to land, right here.
Me too. If we're handing out shots, I'll take that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're handing them out all day long.
So I have enough to get there. It's going to be on the left-hand side. See, as we pan over to the basket. Still giving her a putt, but not as close as she would want to be from where her drive ended up.
Yeah. just didn't get it, high enough, didn't get enough elevation because it does play pretty far uphill from that point. Now, Sarah Hokom's only really advanced about 70 feet. I'm still not sure why she didn't reach out and throw like a little S sidearm. But she is the leader of the tournament by 6 throws, so I guess I shouldn't be questioning too much at this point. And there
How
you
about
go.
that shot, though?
Yeah,
That was a beautiful shot from Sarah.
Very well executed.
That's the thing. I mean, even though she's fairly close to the basket, those rocks and the boulders that they create, that little bit of a barrier, just always seem to push you back about 10, 12, 15 feet, kind of putting you in that tester zone. That always scares me. All the work you did to get up to the basket, and then you're still kind of leaving yourself with a little bit of a putt to think about.
Yeah, it's tough to get it up on that plateau. This is Rebecca's now 3rd shot. But she did pretty well to get herself to this position. She wasn't in the best position. This is pretty tricky as well. She's got to watch her hand on that. Oh, that scares me every time I see it. Oh,
No, aren't you always holding your breath?
I am, yeah. Oh, man. She did not hit her hand there, but unfortunately the disc ended up just a little bit off there to the left side.
Nice. And Hailey's just going to have a drop in there. U-Disc actually already counted that one. So we basically already counting that drop in there for Hailey, and that would be for par.
Yeah, I think we found it out yesterday that it seemed as if our on-course commentator was doing the live scoring, Madison Walker, and I've never done the U-Disc, but I've kept score for your rounds and things. And yeah, there was some that I just counted. But that's a player. That's a player thinking of it that way. So, but yeah, I think we can count that one good for Hailey.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's within an arm's reach, pretty much count that up. That's not to say I haven't missed them within arm's reach, but 99.9% of the time.
I have missed one. It's a pretty funny situation. Oh, and Rebecca just off the front of that rim. Yeah, she's got to do that. If we had stats of basket hits of like where it obviously when it's not in, hers would be front rim probably 85% of the time.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Just a diagram of the basket, and then like tennis where they see where the ball hits the line, you could just see where the players hit the basket. Even with the chains, seeing what part of the chains that the players hit. Is it in the center? Is it on the left-hand side? Green for made putts, red for missed putts.
I like it. Yeah, it's like free throw shooting.
Anybody out there listening, here's your $1 million idea. Free for the taking.
Oh, you got $1 million ideas now. Okay.
I mean,
I'll take it.
We know disc golf is off and running.
I like it. I like it. That would be definitely interesting.
This is Sarah Hokom putting for par. Overall, really, really great scores on this hole. We have Sarah Hokom with a par, Hailey with a par, Kristin with a par, Rebecca takes a bogey. I mean, it's a 606-foot hole. Very difficult par 4. I think these players played it very nicely. But we're moving on. We're going to hole 8. We're really scooting along here. 440 feet, par 4. Now, this is a new hole to me, newer on the course design as well, but also still looking very clean. A lot of maneuvering through the trees. Looks like the first shot is going to be that placement shot to about this zone. With the way that the fairway moves back and forth, left and right, and snakes along, it's all about the placement shot. So landing there would put you in a great position for the straight shot to the basket, aiming for those wood chips, and hopefully getting your shot at a birdie. I think 2 executed shots are going to leave you with a nice putt. It's all about landing in that perfect positioning.
Yeah, hole 8 playing as, well, the 8th most difficult hole on the course, but averaging just barely over par, 0.2 over par. So certainly some possible birdie opportunities there. We've seen 11% birdies with that 11%. That's it must just be the number of players, because we've seen that now twice. So at any rate, 11% birdies overall of the entire women's field, minus our group here. And yeah, you're right. This is a new hole. It's a new hole as of the World Championship last year, which Val and I did not compete in. So this will be, we've watched it on, watched it back. So it's definitely a gettable hole if you can put yourself off the tee in that good position. If you're left back short, because the way the fairway turns, you're kind of left to just pitch it and get yourself back into position. You got to throw a big thanks to Gatekeeper Media for flying these drones through these wooded holes. They've been doing the drone footage now for the last 2 events that we've been on coverage. So big thanks to Gatekeeper Media for their effort. The other thing about this hole, plays uphill, 440 feet uphill. That's an added challenge and an added distance to the actual footage of the hole. Ooh, and Sarah's put herself in really nice position.
I think on the map, I mean, the way that the fairway just goes left and right and back and forth and squirrels its way all the way down to the pin, just tightens up the fairway. In the end, it's a pretty straight shot. And oh, this is going to be a rough start for Hailey. Seconds out of her hand. She wishes she could throw it again.
Most of the time, I think our players are thinking when they make a bad shot, okay, how can I recover? There's no recovery. I mean, she just has to go back into the middle, advance it as far as she can, but focus on hitting the middle of the fairway and then just kind of basically replaying the hole from there. All right, so a little bit on the left side. Might be able to have something, could have a decent angle up towards the basket. Just depends on how she's landed.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful shot from Rebecca right in the middle of the fairway. We're going to take a quick break and catch up with Hailey in a minute.
The Raptor was created for a specific shot, a specific distance, and especially comfort. A lot of thought went into the design of the Raptor. We wanted to make a disc comparable to the zone that just went a little bit further with that consistency. And with the Raptor, I really feel like we accomplished that.
As we get back, Hailey King, this is her third shot. We did not see her pitch out, but she put herself in a decent position, and now she's gotten it up closer to the basket area and asking for it to turn. And she's still got a bit of a ways to go there on this 8th hole. Again, thank you all for joining us here. This is Discraft's Green Mountain Championship presented by Grip Equipment. We are in our 3rd round moving day of the FPO here on the Brewster Ridge course. We played 7 holes. Sarah Hokom is the leader at 2 under par. She's holding strong. She's even par for the day, playing very well. The big name, Paige Pierce, who is not in this card, is 1 under for the day. She just picked up a bogey, but she had birdied back-to-back holes. So she's back at 8 over, 10 strokes back of Hokom. So not much to think about there quite yet, but Paige could go on a little bit of a run here, and we could see. Wow, and playing the millimeter game with those trees. A little wry smile there from Hokom.
If you're a disc golfer, you are all holding your breath. Hoping that it made it past. And, oh, okay, now you can breathe.
Yeah, exactly. She's going to have a great opportunity to add to her lead here. And early on, looked like Kristin was going to make certainly a good run at Hokom, and still that possibility is there, but she's picked up a double bogey to go along with her birdie on hole number 1. So she's 1 over par. I still think Kristin at this point is the biggest threat. Hailey's playing solid as well. She's made a few big putts. Yeah, and that's well within the range of Kristin.
Wow, you can see the breeze picking up as the leaves are falling down. And the next hole that we're playing is fairly open, so the wind will likely affect the players and their drives, but we're still in tightly wooded hole. 2 holes from here, excuse me.
Yeah. Got caught in that token open hole coming up after we get through this front 9 hole 10. But you're right. I mean, I think, glass half full. Good thing we're not on Fox Run. I mean, Fox Run on a day like today would just be absolutely brutal for all of our players. I mean, for the most part, they played in those conditions yesterday, but at least the sun was out. It was sort of a pretty day. Today's not one of those days. It's definitely a lot more difficult. And the AMs are over there playing today.
Oh,
so tough day for the spotters.
We're thinking about them. It is September, mid-September here in Vermont. So the fall weather is creeping upon us.
There's that top 10.
Oh, and a quick switch. You know how live this is when you see that happen. Holly Finley, Katrina Allen's moving her way up. Flip-flopping. Here we have Hailey King.
At this point, Hailey's just trying to kind of, bandage the wound, for lack of a better explanation. And she got caught up very, very early. I think she did a pretty good job. After that tee shot, the best she was going to get was a bogey. And there's no doubt, looks like she's going to pick up said bogey. So really only losing one shot could be a lot worse. Now we have Rebecca Cox here.
Nice. I just loved watching the form. You can tell by just looking at her form whether she's going to make the putt or miss the putt. And that one was full extension, and she left her hand up there as she reached for the basket. The putts that we'll see her miss are just really fast up, and she brings her hand down. And those are the ones we see where she misses by an inch, missing low. And we've seen, I can probably count on two hands how many shots she's missed like that. But that full extension and reach is really the key to Rebecca's putting.
It certainly is. The sling. She kind of slings it in there. But that extension is certainly the key to success. Now we're going to see Sarah Hokom for birdie. We've already seen two birdies from our featured lead card here. Our leader. And Sarah able to get it right in the heart. Beautifully executed putt. She's going to move to 3 under par. 1 under par for today's round. Playing extremely well. Extremely solid. And there's Hailey just tapping in her bogey. Again, I think a fairly good bogey. So let's take a look at hole 9 as we continue to move forward here.
Here we are on hole 9, 305 feet. This one's straight up the gut. Slight elevation gain toward the end of the hole, but there's not too much to talk about here. You got to hit the line, and you got to hit it well. You can get that little bit of skip. You can see that little dirt patch right in front of the basket. So you can get a skip up to the basket. So we might see players playing that move. Slight slope past the basket. So anything coming in a little too hot could go flying past. We're going to head over to Madison on the course.
Hey everybody, we are out here. Just got done with hole 9 at the Brewster Ridge Disc Golf Course, and the wind is absolutely roaring. There's a bunch of maple trees up here that the leaves are really loud, and you can just hear the wind ripping through the valley as it gets up here. It would not be a fun day to be an AM player out on Fox Run. But even with the scary wind overhead that you can hear, we just watched 3 out of the 4 lead card ladies take a 3 on this hole. Very new hole that they put in for Worlds last year. So it's very impressive. They're keeping really focused, kind of a serious vibe on the card. Everyone's kind of quiet, but playing really strong, and I believe they all hold their leads as well. But we will head back to the booth, and I'll check in with you guys in a little while.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I mean,
things we expected, but you never know. I mean, just that little glimpse of seeing Madison talk. I mean, how much more intense were those leaves, blowing in the wind, and, the leaves falling, and a little bit of rain still hanging on those leaves dropping.
Yeah.
So
by the way,
blustery.
For everybody at home, we keep the mics turned down pretty far on windy days like this. On a nice, perfect day, we hear the birds and everything chirping. Today we've got to turn down, and we're still hearing it. So I think that kind of tells you everything you need to know about how much wind there is, and just that word roaring. It's roaring. It's a strong wind today. So, I mean, and the way the players played hole 8, it didn't seem like there was any wind. Now, we gotta say the wind is up here, and it's not so much down here. You're getting little bits kind of popping down and through, but ultimately, I think our players are handling it all very, very well.
Not here so much, but
right here.
Here, yeah.
Exactly. And Paige Pierce, watch. I'm going to kind of be on that all day long. She's now bogeyed yet again, back-to-back bogeys. So she's back to even par, 9 over for the tournament. And while we're mentioning Paige Pierce, I mean, really the person to be talking about is Sarah Hokom. She's playing extremely well. Ooh, and it's just sort of fallen away at the basket. She's going to have a long uphill putt there. Pretty well executed shot. Sarah Hokom has a 6-stroke lead over this woman right here, Kristin Tattar. Kristin jumping up the hill there a little bit, putting it about the same level as the basket. So that's going to be a solid opportunity.
Oh, and that was a sweet shot. Flipping up just enough to fly perfectly flat and just crest the hill. Beautiful shot from Rebecca. And Hailey's got such a nice smooth drive. She's going to be on the left-hand side of the fairway. That's all 4 players off. We're going to take a break. We'll see you in a minute.
What do you think, flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. This is a good disc right here.
Purple and orange. Got it. 2 more.
Danny, this is a sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a hard day.
It's great.
When I need to check the wind, I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10% also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
And we're back. As we came back, we saw Hailey King just sort of executing pretty much just a layup. She got caught up pretty far back, so not a huge opportunity for her, just accepting the par here on our 9th hole. The other thing that, you know, has got to be mentioned is sort of the serious nature of today's round. You know, I don't know if it's so much serious or everybody's just kind of focused on the task at hand. It's definitely an important day in a long tournament, a 4-round tournament. Val, I mean, just some days are different than others, and this is kind of a gloomy day, a lot of wind. You're just kind of stuck in your own game, kind of doing your own thing.
And you're playing in the woods, so there is so much of that focus. So if you let up and you kind of ease up on the tension or that focus, you might be going offline or off point or missing a putt. And so just being in the woods is just so mentally challenging. And so I think that's what these players are dealing with right now. It's a little more quiet, a little more focused. First big jump putt of the day for Sarah Hokom. Not quite enough power.
So here we have Kristin Tattar. She's putting straight at the downhill slope.
Man, but
And
there is
what does it
not
matter?
a doubt.
What does it matter? Solid putt there. It's not going to earn a replay, but it was more solid than anything. And I mean, here's the thing. From what I've noticed anyways, and you can speak a little bit more to it, she's stepping up so quick and confident. And there's really not, she just seems like knows she's going to make it right off the bat.
She's got such a great routine. It's just so simple. And then she's reaching right toward the chains. So there's no doubt where her arm is extending to and where she's reaching to. And, you know, as much as there's a lot of the power that needs to be put behind a putt or the wrist snap, I'm going to talk about it time and time again. It's that reach. It's that extension.
Yeah, and really the confidence has been building for Kristin Tattar as we saw her play so well back in Massachusetts. She won last weekend, and now she's playing well here. Let's take a look. We played 9 holes. Let's go to hole 10, Val. The apple tree hole. Love this hole.
On hole 10, 410 feet, par 3. Beautiful view on this course. Finally opens up just a little bit for this downhill shot, but still requires a lot of accuracy. Still a technical shot. But here I think it's all about the disc choice. If you're going to go for a mid-range, you need to make sure you're getting enough air underneath it so that it carries far enough to reach the basket. Otherwise, we might see a lot of players throwing a fairway driver, something a little bit understable, starting out with that hyzer, hoping it flips up and carries its way to the basket. It's still 400 feet, but with that little bit of decline, that slope downhill toward the basket, makes it a lot more approachable for a majority of the FPO division.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now, the one thing that would only hold back on that is the fact that we have these blustery conditions, and now we kind of open up a bit. You know, there's just that, you know, kind of wind factor now, and that it's not like you've really been locked in on playing in the wind because, you know, you've been playing in the woods. So yeah, we could see something going on here. But yeah, we've played 9 holes, and I think ultimately, really, Hokom has she's actually gone one more under par overall. So she's 1 under par for the round. She's 3 down for the tournament. Kristin Tattar is playing well. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And sort of evenly playing as well as Hokom. And so I think at that point, you know, based on just the scores we see, these are our 2 top dogs.
Yeah. I feel like Kristin's been playing a lot of just perfect shots down the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden, one hole will happen, a weird throw will happen, out of bounds. These errors add up. And when you're trying to track down somebody that's in a lead like Sarah Hokom's got, you need to stay on point. But Kristin has it all there. It's just a matter of sticking to it and putting together a really great round. There's that win, Nate.
Yeah, it looked like she was actually going to go low, and then the wind sort of air bounced her up. It held the disc to the right, but she's no problem. She's safe just on the edge of the fairway there. But man, this is just a beautiful hole. I love this hole. Asking for that lift. Oh, and just getting inside that second circle. She's on the open side, so she can have a look.
You call this the apple tree hole. All the trees surrounding the basket, right around the basket, are apple trees. And they're ripe for the picking right now.
Yeah, I don't know. They looked in the flyby, they looked a little thin. I'm not sure if it's just been a bad season or if those trees aren't doing well, but you're right. I mean, over, you know, these past years we've been going there, we've always kind of seen some fruit ripe for the picking.
Yeah, halfway through the course is perfect time for a snack, a little boost.
Right.
And when it's right there on the course, I mean, how good does that get?
Exactly. Oh, Sarah asking it to come across, and it's doing so. Does it get down? Oh, and she's going to have a birdie look there for sure.
Was this going to be too high? Yep, hanging off. Looks like she's still in the open, though. That's all 4 players off. We're going to take our commercial break. We'll see you down the fairway.
quick throwing Hailey King is pitched up a little sidearm up there. She's going to have a one tree to navigate there. She's going to have to straddle out and try to make her par putt there. Rest of our players coming on down the hill.
They're looking a little thin.
Yeah, the tops have some, but the lower areas are definitely looking a little thin.
So you need a little friend.
Bad yield.
Give you a hoist to
Yeah.
the top.
When Rebecca just accepting the par here, not really giving that an effort at all. Even not giving it much of a layup effort, just sort of, again, accepting the fact that she was going to par this hole. I think under different circumstances, that was certainly a putt she could have made. But it does slope away from her behind that basket. So maybe just not really willing to take that risk on at this point. Rebecca is back sort of battling for this fourth position a little bit. She didn't start off all that hot, but she's picked up 4 birdies to go along with a double bogey and 2 other bogeys. So she's at even par. And really our whole lead card here playing as good, if not better, than the entire field at this point. So certainly these players have established themselves. Ooh, and great run there by Kristin. They've established themselves as the best players in the tournament to this point. See that smile. Talking with Hokom. It was a good run. I mean, that's a solid run. I had to go down below those branches.
And you can just see how Hokom lines up her putt. You can see how challenging this hyzer putt is going to be for her around the tree on the right-hand side.
Yeah, this really isn't the best for her. Yeah. She has such a straight putt. She's really done a lot of work in the last few years to make sure it kind of stays in this straight line. And it's weird. You kind of see her lining up for an anhyzer and then trying to release a hyzer. So she just hit that tree right in front of her.
And even with that, the way that she had to kneel on the ground and straddle out to throw a hyzer putt, you would have to dip down very low. So not leaving a lot of room for the hyzer putt. Nice putt there from Hailey for par. And it really just comes down to parking this hole. That's gonna result in the birdie. If you're not close enough and you got those trees, like we saw Kristin and Sarah having to putt around, you're just gonna have to take your par and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And as expected on the next hole, hole 11, backups happen. You play these quick little holes. You play this hole in the open and you head into hole 11, back into the woods. Things build up a little bit. Let's take a look at.
We're actually going to take a break, Val. So we're going to take a little break as our players move over onto the tee area. So take a break, grab a bathroom, grab a snack, and we'll check with you here in just a few minutes.
Hey everyone, I'm Nate Doss, 3-time disc golf world champion and proud member of Team Discraft. You may or may not know, over the last 10 years or so, my bag hasn't changed too much. My favorite discs are the Predator, the Force. Over the years I've had the Nuke, many discs, but for the most part, these two are the most important ones to me. But actually, recently I've added a brand new disc. If you see me throwing a blue disc, it's gonna be the Undertaker. Absolutely loving this disc. It flies further than the Predator, not quite as far as the Force, but you know, I can rip it on really nice hyzer flip shots. It goes pretty straight for a while, but has some good stability at the end. If you haven't tried it, I think the Undertaker is a phenomenal disc. And trust me, if it's getting into my bag after all this time, it must be a good one. Enjoy.
This September, the biggest disc golf event in New England returns. The 6th annual Green Mountain Championship presented by Discraft. The action unfolds on 2 internationally renowned courses, Brewster Ridge and Fox Run Meadows. The field is stacked with Pro World Champions Paige Bierkes and Greg Barsby returning to defend their 2018 titles. We also welcome back former world champs Paul McBeth, Paige Pierce, and Ricky Wysocki. Who will be the victor this year? One thing's for sure, this is a can't-miss event. It's all part of Smugg's Fall Fest, an action-packed weekend of disc golf, craft beer, music, and more at Smuggler's Notch Resort. The Green Mountain Championship at Smuggler's Notch Resort. Spectators are welcome, lodging packages are available. For more information, visit us online at smuggs.com/fallfest.
We're back here on 11. We're going to catch up with Paige Pierce in the fairway of 11. Just trying to work a sidearm down there, and here in a second we'll actually see the whole preview. But right now we're going to head over to Madison Walker, and she's going to kind of fill us in on what's been going on here just in these last couple of holes.
Hi there, we're back out at Brewster Ridge with the FPO lead card. We just finished hole 10 and we kind of ran into a little bit of a backup, so I had a little fun story I wanted to tell you guys. So Sarah Hokom has a process where she writes little notes on her hand to remind herself of things to do during the round. Today she wrote process, relax, and hope with a little smiley face, and I just thought that was a really cool thing. I also heard from in the past that she's been doing this for years, and that's what helps her keep her brain centered during the round. She seems to have her spirits really high going into hole 11, into the back 9. And once she found out there was a backup, she was actually excited because she said, "Yay, I brought snacks." So she's sitting down to have breakfast as we speak right now. It's really good to see her playing strong out here in the woods. Nobody is surprised. The sun just peeked out, so we're really happy about that. The wind is still ripping, but it's looking like it's going to be a really nice back 9 for the FPO. Back to you guys in the booth.
Yeah, we actually heard that referenced even at the MVP Open. This little process that Sarah Hokom does. You have to remember, everybody at home, that the players out on tour have plenty of time to come up with things, as their job is to play disc golf at the very highest level. So sort of interesting there. Process, relax, and hope. She said hope. Throw. There you go. I don't listen very well.
Well, I know that firsthand, but relax is a common note that Sarah has on her hand, especially how long these rounds can take. And, you can get really worked up and thinking about scores, regardless if you're doing bad or good, you're thinking about a lot of things, but relax. I think that's a really great mantra to have in your mind. Relax and just throw. Keeping it simple is the key, and it's always great to have a reminder. So it's always fun to see what Sarah's got on her hand for the day.
What does she necessarily mean by process? I mean, I know what I think it is. I mean, in your mind, what is it? It's
process. I'm thinking routine.
Okay.
I'm thinking, let the routine happen. Maybe even let the process of just playing the course. You gotta let the cards fall where they do, especially in a course like this. You can have your game plan, but at the same time, things can change up, and you have to switch strategies just like that. You gotta switch your game plan depending on where that drive lands.
Yeah, we can see Sarah Hokom actually enjoying that snack. To me, the term process would be following the process, right? Winning a tournament is a process, and you have to allow that process to happen. There's no cutting any corners. It's not like you can play one less round or one less hole. So let's take a look at that whole preview here on 11. So as Sarah's bringing snacks right into the booth for us, let's take a look at the whole preview for hole 11. If we can pull that up, Johnny V, just so we have our fans at home have an idea of what hole 11 looks like.
And here we go with the whole preview. Par for 615 feet. For me, I was throwing my understable mid-range and just letting it fly on this downhill shot. We're working our way all the way downhill. This is the ideal landing zone for that first drive. Second shot, you're going for that straight shot, but with a backhand hyzer, you can finish off to the left. There's a lot of room over here. You're going to pitch it up underneath the basket. And a 4 on this one means you played it perfectly. It's going to be pretty impressive if we see any birdies on this one. It's really technical in the first half of the hole. So getting through there without a lot of mess, you're doing all right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Certainly, if you pure it, because it is so far downhill, you can get it way down there, but puring it is a lot easier said than done.
And you pure it, and you're not really getting that much distance. This hole is so long that it's just a couple steps. You got to go through the process. You've got to go through the shots. You got to land in the position to set yourself up for the second shot.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. And yeah, just back to sort of what I was talking about with process. You know, there's a process to win a tournament. It takes it takes this level of understanding that it's not going to happen overnight. That even if you play great today, there's no promises for tomorrow. And so to me, that's sort of what that term means to me. But I also understand the process of the routine and sort of continuing to stick with your game plan, all of those things. But for me, process always meant don't cheat the system, don't cheat the process. Enjoy and accept every single aspect of it. Every win, loss that anybody's ever had, there's always been ups and downs. So Sarah's certainly enjoying, I think, in my opinion, mostly the ups at this point. So see if she can navigate some possible downs.
And it's great to get this bonus footage of the second card. We've got Paige Pierce. We talked about how clean her scorecard was looking. We saw she carded a birdie on 7 and 8, but then followed it up with 2 bogeys on 9 and 10. So, I mean, still, she's at even par for the day. 9 over, sitting in 5th place right now.
Yeah, she's kind of in no man's land. She's 2 strokes behind 5th, or 2 strokes behind 4th, and 4 strokes ahead of Jessica Weiss, who's in 6th, and 7 strokes or 6 strokes ahead of 7. So, you know, kind of playing at this point. I would think looking to get into our lead card tomorrow so that she can at least be there to see what potentially the leader's doing. Oh, just on the left side there for Kristin. I mean, look at the tunnel that you're going down. On the guy side, I had to play this with a full-on driver. Had to rip a drive down there to try to get as far as I possibly could. Ooh, I like that. Oh, took a rock kick on the left side.
And there is another fairway, another trail on the left-hand side. So Kristin might be far enough on that left-hand side of the fairway to follow that trail. I mean, it's only about 10 feet wide, but it is a clean gap all the way down to the basket. The shot that we saw Rebecca hoping to land in that landing zone, that fairway is more like 40 feet wide. So that is the preferred route.
See if our camera can focus in on that. Oh, Hokom's put it in a perfect position. She has now made this hole much, much easier. Nice job there by Sarah. It's Lucky, kicks back in the middle. We're going to take a short break. We'll catch up with you here in just a minute.
The DGA Pipeline's the longest, straightest fairway driver you'll ever throw. I just need a good line about pipes and disc golf. Pipes. I got nothing.
Back here in the fairway of hole 11 with Hailey King. Cameron Messerschmidt is who's caddying for Hailey. He's a competitor on the MPO side. He's familiar with the course and familiar with Hailey.
And he was one of the names that I saw yesterday. I think he moved up about 40 some places in yesterday's round over at Fox Run. One of the biggest jumps out of yesterday's second round. Which also means he didn't have a very good round here at Brewster Ridge, the very first round. So hopefully taking some notes.
Yeah, I was going to say, learning some stuff from these ladies, certainly. Yeah, Cameron's at 4 under par for the tournament. He tees off in 2 hours.
We should be done by then.
6 minutes, yeah. So you can finish up and walk right over to that tee. First tee, get ready to go.
And so she is kind of in that middle zone. You can see a little bit of that left-hand side fairway.
Wow, hit the first tree.
Let's consider that just a pitch out.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, she could have gotten a better pitch out right down to that green grass probably, and she's now got a tough stance, a long ways to go in the fairway. Hokom's still way down there ahead of her. So, yeah, this is hole 11. Hole 11 is definitely one of the most difficult on the course playing. Let me just fast forward here to hole 11. That's the 4th most difficult, playing just short of a stroke over par. So definitely in the top 5, 4 or 5, you know, as far as difficulty goes. And you get off this fairway. Boy, I mean, forced to throw sidearms essentially just because of stance. You know, she had to do it on the last shot. Now this shot.
And I think it's the best way for her to gain distance. Just the way the fairway just snakes back and forth.
Right.
A hyzer is only going to get you so far. And so maybe she's just trying to punch it down there as far as she can get, letting gravity kind of pull her down closer to the basket.
Yeah, agreed.
But this is becoming quite a struggle for Kristin here on hole 11.
Yeah, she's going to have to pull off a miracle just to save her bogey at this point. And, you know, we see our top 10 leaderboard. Can we, and for our fans at home, how different is the game between what Paige Pierce does and what Sarah Hokom's doing? I mean, it's really night and day. You know, Paige Pierce is very aggressive, even on her putting. She's she has a lot of comeback putts. So we just saw on the last hole, she had a 40-footer. She put 20 feet past and then made the 20-footer coming back. Like Sarah Hokom doesn't do any of that, and it can be frustrating for her fans and probably for her sometimes. She gets, caught up and she's just kind of pawing along. But ultimately, she's been very, very consistent. And I mean, look at on a course like this where that puts her.
Yeah, it's it. Solid golf. She doesn't have anything that's too just crazy. She's not going to ever just light up a course like that. Paige Pierce, she gets on fire and she can really set the tempo. Sarah Hokom's now getting into this routine in the most recent years. Seen her get into this routine where it's just this steady play and a little bit more relaxed and slower paced. And even how she sets up on her shots, she sets up on her drives. It's very methodical. Everything is thought out and she really takes all of her time in each and every shot. And so while, you think a player like that is, making these huge moves, it's all about just that steady play and keeping composed throughout the round. And that's what I found to lead me to my most success. I would hit big putts every once in a while. I was a pretty good putter in my day, but it was mostly about just that steady golf and not making too many crazy mistakes and just staying in there, just staying in the race. Another sidearm.
Yeah, third sidearm in a row. And it looked as if she got through quite a ways, but she's going to have a long look at bogey at this point, as she's now thrown 4 shots on this 11th hole. And yet Hokom has yet to throw her second shot. So Hokom against her closest competitor, already in theory gaining strokes, and she hasn't even stepped up to look at her second shot yet. So amazing drive by Sarah. We can see the view here. Now, the only thing I would say from where Sarah is it's a tight little sidearm she's going to have to try to throw. As a backhand player, you'd be looking to just throw a nice soft turnover flex. But Sarah's going to have to try to work some flippy sidearm.
And these are my favorite shots to see her come up with. I mean, think about how she's got to contort her body and how tightly she's got to have her arm into her body to hit that hyzer angle and work this shot.
Yeah. It's true. It really is true. She's become an expert at these types of shots, I mean, it's, hey, it's definitely one of those things. You train it, you practice it, and hopefully you can figure it out.
Yeah, and this is going to be the perfect view right here.
Look at that angle. Look at the body angle. That disc is so flippy. Yeah, look at that. So much angle. Oh, nice. She's got it through. She's going to have a look. But again, I think in this case for Sarah, no harm, no foul. I mean, you don't birdie this hole, that's fine. Your closest competitor's got a 40-footer for bogey. You're going to be having a potential birdie opportunity and a tap-in par. So great opportunity for Sarah to continue to extend her lead. Cannot reiterate how hard that super spiky hyzer with a sidearm is to hit the line you're trying to throw it on. Man, nice job by Sarah. Now we see Rebecca. I think Rebecca, and this is that little turn I was talking about. Look at that. Oh, and just hits the last tree, but the difference between the shot that Rebecca was able to throw and the one that Sarah was attempting to throw were totally opposite. And Rebecca hitting just that last tree, but it was flexing right back towards the green as opposed to Hokom's, who was tailing away from the green.
It's nice to know that we're moving closer to the basket, getting closer to the green. The players have finally made it down here. Some of these holes, it just feels like they go on forever. Feels like there's a couple holes in the one hole.
Yeah, there's certainly something to be said too when you play these rounds and you have somebody that's kind of playing a little slapstick with the trees and you're just in the middle. You got a lot of time to think about what you got to do. And Hokom had quite a bit of time, but she's again following her mantra.
And it was process, relax, and hope.
I thought that's what she said. Hope.
It was.
Yeah.
Be interesting to hear what she thinks about hope.
Right.
As well.
That would be the question I would love to ask is, what does that hope mean? Is it hope for a positive day? Again, I don't want to speculate at all. Just would love to hear her response to that. And there's Kristin tapping up her fifth shot at this point. So she's going to be looking at taking a 6 at best. Hokom's in position to be putting for birdie. So we can see a big 3-stroke swing here. Seemingly a 2-stroke swing is a for sure at this point. That's going to really put the hammer down on this event.
This is a nice look at a putt here for Rebecca. Good opportunity to run it. Oh, and the hand drop. Another one hitting the front cage. Just a little short. She's got that line. She's always hitting basket.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like she's always on line for the most part. But it's just short, because she's got that nose down.
Mm-hmm. This is Sarah Hokom for birdie.
Of course, Sarah wanted it, but we all know here, just playing the numbers game, that she's still gaining strokes at this point, not losing anything to anybody. And the way that this hole's been played by most of our competitors throughout the entire day, not a big deal as well, in the sense that she's sort of on par or gaining strokes on most of the players in the tournament. So she's played this hole extremely well. Kristin with that 5. Now I believe 1, 2, 3. I believe that was a 6.
Yeah, there were a few more throws in there over par.
Hokom for her par. And Rebecca for her par as well. So that's hole 11. Let's take a look at the hole preview of hole 12.
Here we are on hole 12, 340 feet, par 3. This one's just always tricky to me. I mean, it's pretty simple when you look at it on the map and you look at it right here. The flight path is simple, just straight ahead, but it's slightly downhill and then it tightens up with this little bit of bottleneck trees that are blocking any shots coming into the fairway. So you have to make sure you're hitting that line perfectly. and getting enough distance beyond it. Throwing a fairway driver sometimes can be a little too fast. Throwing a mid-range, you might end up short. So this is that like in between distance for the FPO division. And while it's right there and it's right there in front of you for a birdie, we might not see everyone birdieing it because it's still a very technical shot.
Yeah, speed control. I think what that's sort of the word we're talking about here. Speed control is so key. Oh, 17% birdies there, playing as the 11th most difficult. You know, here's the thing. If for the longer throwers, they're able to easily throw a mid-range, right? So that's an advantage. For our not so long of throwers, all of a sudden you got to throw a fairway driver, and then speed control becomes an issue because it is severely downhill. I mean, if you look straight away and you look down towards that black, it slopes right at that little peak downhill pretty severely. And so being able to throw a mid-range is an advantage here for sure.
It is. And just that slower flight, the gravity just really wants to take it off to the left-hand side. And you can see the wind really picking up. And so I'm sure it's not blowing in one direction, probably a little bit swirling and likely different on the tee pad as opposed to what's going on near and around the basket. So players just got to try and hit the line. And you can't really rely on what the wind's going to do. Just hit your line and see what happens.
Paige Pierce was able to pick up her birdie on this 12th hole, just ahead of this group. She's now at even par. Again, the only reason I keep bringing up Paige is because she's at this point the only one not in this group that's even in reach of this group. And I think if she's able to find her way into the lead card tomorrow, that could be a big advantage for her in the sense that she could have a visual of the leader. Sarah asking for it to turn. It's not gonna. It's gonna flare out to the right. Ooh, it took a nice kick right into the middle. Scramble rate. She's gonna have to scramble to get up and down for par here. Hailey, it looked like it was a driver of some sort, so we'll just check the speed coming in. And really, speed wasn't a big issue because she didn't have enough distance to get all the way down to the green area. Oh, asking for it. Go left, go left.
A lot of body language on that one. And there's lots of opportunities for that to get through nice and clean, but gets hung up on the right-hand side. Anything not parked underneath the basket is just a pitch up for a par. There we go. We can see that Discraft Flanner flying, looking like it's a little bit of a headwind.
Oh, that needs a flip up. Too much angle. Kicked out in the middle. We'll take a break and we'll catch up with you down in the fairway. We are back in the fairway of hole 12 here at Discraft's Green Mountain Championship presented by Grip Equipment. This is round 3, and that's Rebecca Cox. Oh, and able to kick up and hit the front of the rim. We're here on the Brewster Ridge course, and we've had some incredible play by Sarah Hokom, our leader, and actually fairly even play by the rest of our players in this lead card, as Tattar, King, and Cox are all fairly close to each other, respectively. But at this point, Sarah Hokom has a 7-stroke lead. And she's done it by just playing solid disc golf. And there's another bit of solid disc golf, able to pull out that backhand and chip it down there.
It's really nice getting over those rocks. You can see that you can get a little bit hung up here. There's a few stumps and a few rocks as you make your way to the basket. Making sure getting over those, getting them close. And there's 3 close-up shots.
And throughout this round, I really have felt as if Kristin Tattar was going to make a run. And I think, as you said, she's had quite a few birdies, but now 2 separate double bogeys on her card. And this has sort of been a trend over these last 2 rounds we've been covering. And, and really at some level, the pressure of Hokom's stable play is certainly, putting pressure on everybody else. So it's not as if she's just out there birdieing every hole, but in a way it's like she is, because there's still a lot of, tough holes out there that the players are struggling with.
Yeah, and as much as Kristin Tattar, she's right there. She's shooting really great, very solid, but she's got 2 double bogeys today. Right. Those are her only bogey strokes, or 2 double bogeys. She's got 3 birdies on the card, the rest pars. So still really solid. She's right there. She's had 2 bad holes. Oh, and Hailey running for the birdie. And it's going to be another birdie bogey situation with this drop in. It's tough. There's not much there on that left-hand side. Too many squirrely trees, small pine trees. It's a risk to go for the putt.
Yeah, she really tried to just chip off too much on her second shot, leaving her well back for that long par putt, and she was unable to get that in. And there's Hokom tapping in for her par. Kristin doing the same. Rebecca doing the same. And so there's hole 12. Let's take a look at 13. 13, a very, very difficult hole.
I've played this hole so many times, and I still don't even know what I'm doing. It's par 4, 555 feet. First shot, you'll be thrilled if you can land in this landing zone here. For the backhanded players, you want to be on the left-hand side of the fairway so you can have this look at the approach, throwing something a little bit understable, hoping to land near and around this opening. And then the third shot is just the pitch up underneath the basket, and you're dropping in for your par. Never have I been able to play that so cleanly as I just explained, but let's see if the players can do it.
Yeah, and the advantage here for Hokom is that it's a sidearm off the tee. There's a great opportunity to get it down and around that corner, but then it really calls for a backhand going into the green. Sarah's already proven to us many times over that she's good at working backhand shots with a sidearm, so we'll see if she's able to put herself in good position off the tee. This is one that just, I throw a sidearm on this hole. It's that much of a turn out there late.
Yeah, exactly. It's that late turn. To throw a straight backhand shot and to get it to turn at the very end is really difficult. I always got hung up on those trees that you see on the right-hand side of the fairway. Then it makes a very difficult angle on your second shot.
Sarah playing that perfectly. Nice in the middle and no problems there for Sarah. She's really playing down a road. See, that's that late turn. You saw it kind of bouncing around, banging around. It's tough to get a disc from a backhand to go out, let's just say call it 270 feet and then turn right, without having to work the entire fairway. Sidearms, you get them to late hyzer and kick to the right towards the end.
I think Rebecca's going to be really happy with how her shot ended up.
It's got to slow down. It's going to get into those woods and kick left.
It's now Kristin's long on the left-hand side of the fairway. She might have a clean look. It does open up a little bit. So she's going to be right on that corner. Ooh, and Hailey going for the high route. Oh, I was hoping to see that one work out. All 4 players are off. We'll see how they finish up the rest of the hole.
Spectacular views like these and championship level play like this can mean only one thing. It's time for Fall Fest at Smuggler's Notch Resort. 2 days of disc golf, craft beer, mountain biking, and more. Featuring live music from Zach Nugent and Blues for Breakfast. Also the 2019 Discraft Green Mountain Championship, the biggest disc golf event in New England. Special group rates on lodging are available. Call today and stay while you play.
We're back here in the fairway, and I think at some level the chase card is up on this green, so our players have gotten off the tee, but now are going to have a little bit of a wait here in the fairway. Give them plenty of time to think about what lies ahead of them. And you can see if you don't get all the way around that corner, you still have a lot of corner to deal with.
And I think the players in this group they've got some good shots to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rebecca's the only one that's tight on the right-hand side, so she's going to have more of that Anheuser shot. But everyone else on the left-hand side, so they're going to have a better angle for that opening. And that looks really nice. I think Rebecca even made it a little bit into that gap, into the opening there. Beautiful shot.
Mm-hmm. So ideally here on 13 with a backhand, you really want to play from the far left side of the fairway, turning it the entire way, which Hailey was attempting to do. But Kristin, on the other hand, she went with a hyzer flip. I don't think there's a flippy enough disc in the world to be able to traverse the fairway the proper way with that flight. So Hailey's got it. Big power sidearm up into the woods. Oh, now you can catch the basket there for the first time.
That disc fought its way. She's well into the woods. We'll see how that turns out in a minute. Yeah, I think landing, I mean, this stump, that stump right there is probably the best landing zone for a sidearm.
Yeah.
And look how Sarah's shot ended up here. Just off the road, but perfectly in the middle of the fairway. And what she's aiming at here is that the largest dark area on our screen.
Yep.
You can see a little bit, there's a stump. We're heading that direction. Basket's just still in the shadows.
Yeah, and you might be saying, well, Nate, look, I mean, she's lined up a sidearm. It looks pretty easy. But the problem is that the basket is pretty far back into the woods, and it's tough to get that sidearm to penetrate that far. If she was throwing a backhand, she could get it to flex out. But ultimately, I think she's going to be able to put herself in position here. And again, pars for Sarah Hokom from here on out are a great thing. So no matter what, good tee to green, she's going to be looking just fine. And that's fine. No problems there, right? At the mouth of the gap.
She didn't have enough power. She could have made it all the way through there, possibly getting her a long jump putt at the basket. But yeah, right in the middle, sticking to the game plan.
Yep. Yeah.
Smooth and steady.
Yeah, no problems for Sarah at all. So welcome to the booth. I'm Nate Doss. Got 4-time disc golf world champ here, Valarie Jenkins. Val, we've sort of, we've made it, basically 2/3 of the way through here, this third round, watching the way Brewster Ridge plays versus Fox Run Meadows. Obviously, they couldn't be any more different, but also still seeing that sort of steady play is the key here on this course.
Yes, steady play is so important and not forcing things to happen. We see Hailey getting a little frustrated in some of the shots, kind of forcing maybe putts to happen, forcing those sidearms to happen, and you end up getting in trouble. You end up off of the fairway and you're just struggling the entire way down the fairway. On this course, it's important to know your strategy and execute shot after shot into a landing zone. You can't force things to happen. If you're off of the fairway a little bit, it's really hard to make up those strokes. And so the game plan here today, it's not about the long throws. It's about perfectly placed shots. We'll get out there tomorrow at Fox Run. It's the last round of this tournament. Big, wide open shots. You can make things happen if you need to out there. Things open up. You have the space to do that. And you can, oh, I threw out of bounds. All right, now I'm running for that upshot. I'm going to get that upshot as close to the basket as possible.
Right.
You can change up your game plan a little bit more out at Fox Run. Here, it's just, this is what the fairway is. You've got to play down it. Otherwise, you're just going to be fighting the woods the entire way.
Yeah, as I said it earlier, I think Simon Lizotte posed it the best. It kind of is what it is. There's really no aggressive or not aggressive. And when you get off the fairway, you just got to kind of fight your way and battle it back. And I think it's about making the right decision off the tee. And so far, Sarah Hokom has not only made the right decision, but executed on that decision. So that's why she has a big lead. I was just looking at UDisc. Paige Pierce has taken a double bogey on this hole, on the 13th hole. She's now at 11 over par. And in a way, I don't ever want to count out the best player in the world, but in a way, I kind of am at this point. Hailey and Rebecca are at 7, Tattar's at 4, Hokom's at 3 under. So, I mean, these are our lead dogs. They've sort of proven that, and if they can continue to play well. The one thing I will say, though, is Hailey King. I'm impressed with Hailey's game. I think she has what could be the base of a good game moving forward and be one of our champions as the years go forward. She also plays a little bit almost too quick and too concise. I mean, she was not in a bad position off her tee shot, throws a really quick sort of, almost interesting sidearm, and look at where she is now. She's now just battling and fighting. When if she maybe took a second, executed that second shot better, we wouldn't be in this position. So, Hailey's got to just, I think, kind of clean that up. But ultimately, I'm impressed with her game. She's got a good putt too, I think, which is key.
I love this little caddy advice. Here, I found a window right here.
It's a little tiny one here.
It outlines it with the umbrella. There's one tiny window you can go for. And looks like Kristin's going to do just that.
By the way, as Kristin's getting set, hole 13, most difficult hole on the course. Not surprising for this reason right here. You get off the fairway, you're chipping along. Well, there was that caddy window. Tough to tell exactly where it landed, but
she kept looking for it, so must have still kept flying toward the basket. She was near the opening right there, so it's probably about 80 feet to the basket from where she is.
Yeah, probably 80, 90 feet, something like that. Yeah, it's a good guess.
And Hailey is by an unknown bike trail that I haven't seen just yet, just fighting her way through. I think we caught a glimpse of the basket and the flag. So she's just riding parallel with the fairway right now. Off to the right-hand side of where we see Sarah. The mouth of the opening.
Yeah, of all the shots we've seen thrown, Sarah Hokom's had the easiest as well. She's just not in a spot of bother. She's center of the fairway up tee, center of the fairway up second shot. Now she's got to chip it up and tap it in and move on.
Here's the thing. We see her lining up this jump putt. The shorter up shot. I'd much rather see her just throw something at a standstill, be a little bit more confident.
Right. I think her footing, even a little chip sidearm from here, I think would be a good idea. Using the full flight and getting it up there. Not the tap in she wanted, but that'll be okay for her. It's not far away from the basket.
It's just those jump putts scare me. Yeah. I feel like that it could hang on your finger for a second too long, or you slip as you're trying to move forward. We're seeing a lot more players do that kind of shot. We see Sarah Hokom, we see Paige Pierce doing that.
Hailey King does
Rebecca
a lot of that.
also does that. Just a little kind of jump putt, but it's an upshot. I'm just so much more of a purist when it comes to that. Just stand still and just give it a little toss to the basket. We haven't seen huge putts like this out of Sarah anytime through this weekend so far. Just lay it under the basket and go home with this par on this hole.
Yeah, I agree. At some level, the players are just trying to eliminate all these moving parts. But when you think about a long jump putt like that, there was way more moving parts. There was all this body motion she had to try to get up and get it up to the basket. So I think a little sidearm chip from where she would have been ideal. And there's that solid putting stroke of Hailey King I'm talking about. I think that's something she can continue to build on, and experience will help her ultimately more than anything else.
Sarah's still left with a little bit of a tester here. And not a problem today. Sarah Hokom.
Drop it in from the top.
Yep.
She drops that sucker in from up there, and that's that's when we see her playing her best. She's dropping it in from the top, getting good elevation, good lift on her putt. Oh man, in the first putt, we've really seen Kristin miss, and we had a perfect camera view. She yanked it right off the start.
Ugh, and that's where your stomach feels like it's in your throat. Like, ugh, give me that putt back.
Yeah, immediately you feel it, don't you?
And there was Rebecca for her par. And Kristin's going to be dropping this in for a bogey. And we are heading over to hole 14. One of my favorite holes on this course. Hole 14, it sets up really well for a backhand thrower. 260 feet, par 3, uphill. As long as you can hit the line, you just let the disc do the work. The way that it fades a little bit to the left really works well as the disc is slowing down and using its stability. And we're gonna see some birdies on this one. I'm feeling it. It's well within the range. As long as you can make it up the gut, you're gonna be in putting zone.
Yeah, hole 14, playing the easiest of the entire course. This is the only hole on the course that's playing under par. So 0.2 under par, which means we've seen quite a bit of birdies on it to this point. Yeah, I think you said it right. It's a very gettable hole distance-wise. It's not a long distance.
Not the easiest sidearm hole.
Not at all. Sarah just kind of almost accepting that and playing it just up the middle. We see her do that a bunch. And I think that's some of the frustration that her fans and even us in the booth can feel sometimes, you know. That kind of showed up at the MVP Open. Some of these holes she can't get, and Paige Pierce is puring it up there and birdieing them. So I think just accepting the par here. And Rebecca's got it up there for a birdie opportunity.
And it's so tough. She's basically perfected that sidearm that she's thrown, and she's been throwing that for so many years. And there were a couple of years in there where she was working on her backhand and trying to develop that throw, but it never really got to a position where she could rely on it. And so we do see that she's just that one-sided player. She's got the sidearm, and she's going to make it work however she needs to do it.
Oh, hitting the basket. Wow, incredible shot there by Kristin. And not only was it an incredible shot after hitting the basket, didn't go very far.
Exactly.
Sometimes we can see that happen too. Hailey's got this on a beautiful line up and around the tree. That's a park job for Hailey. Beautiful drives. We'll take a break and catch with you here in just a quick break. Oh, sorry. We are going to catch up with Madison. Let's hear from Madison.
So I know you guys at home have been watching Sarah absolutely shred these fairways out here. No surprise, she's playing well in the woods. But what you guys don't see on the cameras is Sarah with her earbuds in jamming out to James Brown. Spirits are high. I'm very confident that she'll finish the day strong. Last year at Worlds when we played Brewster Ridge, the FPO competitors played 2 rounds here. And after both of those rounds, Kristin Tattar and Sarah Hokom were both in the top 4 rounds at both of those rounds at Brewster. So no surprise, they're doing the same thing here this week. Right now, it looks like Sarah's kind of running away with it in the back 9, and the story's more in who's going to do well in second place. Kristin Tattar had struggled as we entered the back 9, which is weird because usually the back 9 scores a lot better than the front 9, but she's staying focused. Rebecca Cox had a hard time in the front 9, but she's come back, battled back, and she's definitely still in contention for second. Everyone's staying really positive. Everyone has their rally caps on. Everyone's scrambling really well, and the putts are dropping. Let's catch back up with the action.
Yeah, good insight there from Madison going back to Worlds, which again is basically what last year's GMC was and is as far as the play is concerned. And yeah, I mean, kind of tells you everything you need to know that both Hokom and Tattar were in the top here on Brewster Ridge.
I've been just playing this hole for a 3. Poor Sarah. She knows when she can make that sidearm work and knows when not to push it on a hole like this, knowing that the rest of her card, backhand throwers, easier shots for them. We've got 2 players parked underneath the basket. Rebecca's here running for her birdie putt. Sarah knows if she's going to lose a stroke, it's better just one stroke than to force a shot and lose multiple strokes. On a hole like this, it's where it's, the rest of the players on your card, somebody's going to be getting a birdie.
Yeah, it's a decent run there for Rebecca. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's, I was saying that about 17 yesterday. You got this, hole that these players are going to potentially birdie. She's got to lay it up, play it for par. Seemingly at this point, it doesn't really matter. I think Madison said it, that it's a battle for second. We here, as commentators, we're never going to give up on any one of these players coming back because that's our job. And also, we've been in the position of all these players, and we also know that Sarah's not mailing it in by any means. She's still going to be driven and focus on every single shot. So, but good point there by Madison. It seemingly is this sort of battle for second, as Tattar, Cox, and King are all within a few strokes. Paige Pierce has now dropped 7 strokes behind. She's at 14 over. So we have, yeah. So at any rate, there's hole number 14. That's all we need to say about that. Let's take a look at 15.
Hole 15. This one's a tricky one. Teeing off from out of bounds, and you can see the rock wall that's lining the landing zone. See a drop zone there if you don't make it into the landing zone. But this plays as a big island. There's a rock wall continuing on the left-hand side. I play this as a 2-shot hole. You're hoping to basically land in bounds off your drive and then throw your second shot, a little upshot underneath the basket. I'm not sure any of these players will be going for the basket off their drive. It's a little bit too risky. Very technical drive off of the tee. You just want to get it in bounds and work with what you've got there. There's a lot of trees that can still even kick you out of bounds once you cross into that island. So as long as you can get it in bounds, you'll have something to work with.
Sarah making sure to clear off this tee. This tee has always traditionally been a little bit slick. It's completely shaded for the most part. You see a little sun bursting through there, but it can be a little slick. This is the one hole that, as we've come down this back 9, I've been thinking about for Sarah Hokom, because this is the big pitfall hole, right? It's an island. You have got to get into that island. Unless you have, and then you got to go to the white tee, and now you're playing, with 1 extra penalty stroke. So if Sarah can get through this hole, and this hole is definitely not a sidearm hole. And it looks as if Kristin has got it safely in the middle of the fairway there. It's not a sidearm hole for Hokom. If she can get through this with a par, 16 is definitely a sidearm hole. 17 is, not a sidearm hole, but either way, I think this is the big hole she's got to get past.
Oh, and Hailey is feeling that today. That is, there's been countless shots that she's just released with a little bit too much snap.
Mm-hmm.
And so a little bit of a late release, but she does make it in bounds this time, finds a gap through those trees.
Big shot for Sarah here. Yeah, and she's played that well. She's going to be in bounds. It'll be a tricky upshot from over there. She's up in the woods, but either way, inbounds off the tee. I think that was very, very important for her to avoid any kind of major mistake. Ooh, Rebecca's got this on it. Oh, man. Gosh, so close. That's all 4 competitors. We're going to take a break, and we'll catch up with them in just a second.
Now we can see, nice to see all 4 players landing inbounds off of the tee. Rebecca Cox is lining up a nice little hyzer up shot to the basket. And very nicely done. Right there, just behind Rebecca's drive. You do not want to land short. There's no way you're going to make a putt from those tiny pine trees.
Yeah, a lot of tiny, as you said, pine trees. Just
And they're still tiny.
It's
I feel like
brutal.
they've been tiny for years and years, but I've landed in that zone, and that is not ideal. On the wind picking up, you can see it blowing, you can hear it blowing. Especially when these shots get up in the air, they're definitely going to be affected. And there it is. Hailey's finding herself behind those pine trees. Not a good spot for her putt. And it's the height that you want to throw that putt. That's exactly where the pine needles, the pine branches are just blasting out from the tree. It's really hard to get through those.
Yeah, look at that gusty breeze. Pushing up Tattar's collar on her t-shirt. That's how much breeze she's feeling right in her face right now. Nice little standstill. And she's gone up and hit the pyramid and kicked just a little ways off, but should be no problem for her. Now we'll see Hokom move up into her positioning and execute her shot. $15 is just one of those holes that you have to try to avoid any kind of major disaster, because if you go OB off the tee, as I said, you're stuck at the white tee. Now you're rethrowing back on. There's OB opportunities from that point. There's all kinds of really sort of, again, I use the term pitfall, but sort of those issues can pop up, you know. So Sarah's done good to avoid any of that at this point.
We're talking about those extreme angles. Take a look at this angle that Sarah's going to be throwing.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know you're a master at throwing sidearm when you can throw a shot like this.
Yeah, look at the body positioning. It's incredible. Oh, and hits the pyramid. Absolutely parked. Nice job by Hokom, man. Wow, what a shot. What a shot.
I invite you all this afternoon.
Go give that a try.
Go grab a disc and go attempt that shot. And you'll just see how difficult that is to get any power behind it. I mean, it's incredible.
And here's your little pine tree forest, right, Val? I mean, I don't think the tops of the trees haven't changed. I just think the bottoms of them have grown up a little bit higher. That's all there is to it. They've cut all the branches off the lower portion of these trees. Otherwise, it's a true jail.
Wow, and that was quite an effort from Hailey. But man, yeah, those branches just, it's that low ceiling. You just can't get it high enough. Thankfully, that pyramid was able to be there to stop her disc. Had so much power behind it. And solid putt there for Rebecca. Gonna give her her par. And just this back nine for Rebecca is just looking so clean.
Really good, yeah.
She's just been parring along. There's Kristin Tattar for her par as well. Hokom's going to card her par. And Hailey's going to walk away. Yep, with a bogey.
Yeah, that's going to be a bogey for her. She's going to move to 8 over par. You know, I'm just sort of looking at the way Rebecca has played since hole 8. She's 2 under par. If you go all the way back to hole 5, she's 3 under par. I mean, but look at that. Hokom has just been playing so well on another class of her own at this point. Hole number 16. Now let's take a look.
Hole 16. This is a fun one. 400 feet. It's a par 3. You can see how much it just drops down. That first shot is just so much downhill as the fairway starts to turn off to the right-hand side. I think this sets up just perfectly for a Sarah Hokom sidearm, allowing it to finish off to the right-hand side and scoot in here to give her a putt. It's a little more difficult for a backhand thrower. You've got to throw something a little bit slow. I like to go with a mid-range shot and just let that disc do the work and just slow fly all the way to the right-hand side. Even if you finish with a straight drive, you'll have an upshot to the basket and you'll be able to walk away with your par. But it's a difficult hole to birdie for a backhand thrower. It's just really tough to get in there off to the right. But we'll see what these ladies can do. And there's that kind of straight finish.
That was an interesting little reaction from Kristin. She's just like, I don't know. I can't see it. I don't know what's going on down there. Yeah. It kind of just disappears once it goes down and around that corner.
I like it.
Pretty high. Should be able to bounce around. Yeah, we saw it just land there, kind of in the middle of your picture. She's going to have probably not a problem, just a little chip down.
Yeah, something a little bit lower and a little bit more forward momentum would have gotten her to the basket.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. That height was a little bit too much, losing some speed. Rebecca's got this on a good height, but not turning enough. Let's see how it bangs around, bounces around. Still good effort there by Rebecca. And we have Hailey King lining up the sidearm here. And after we see Hailey immediately just turning, oh, she hit a tree kick to the right. We're actually going to run, or we're going to move over to AJ Risley, who is with
Holly Finley.
Holly Finley. There we go. Yep. So we're going to go to AJ here in just a second. So here we go. AJ Risley, Holly Finley.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I've got Holly Finley here. My name's AJ Risley. We're doing a little post-round interview. Holly, how's it going?
Really well. I had a lot of fun on Brewster Ridge today.
Good, yeah. It looks like you moved up 5 spots today. Yeah. The day started off a little windy and cold, but are you originally from Wisconsin or Tennessee? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm from Nashville, but I've lived in Wisconsin for several years, so I think it's fair to say I'm an official Wisconsinite now.
Okay, so the cold doesn't really bother you. How do you feel about the woods versus the open compared to Fox Run?
Yeah, anyone that knows me knows that I absolutely love playing in the woods. This is really my strong suit. So I had a tough run yesterday on the open Fox Run, and I really needed to pick up the slack today, and that's what I did. And I put on my Power lipstick to give myself an extra confidence boost, and I think it worked out.
There you go. Pro tip for everybody at home, Power lipstick. proven to work well, at least on Brewster Ridge. We'll see how it goes on Fox Run. Holly, anything that you're looking forward to or you're trying to improve upon going into the final round tomorrow?
Absolutely. I think I'm just going to be a little more conservative and play it safe. Use a lot heavier discs than what I normally would, and use Matty O's philosophy of chip, 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 putt. And I think that might get me a par finish, so we'll see how it goes.
There we go. All right, well, best of luck. Just keep moving up and up and up. See you at Fall Fest tonight, I guess. Yeah.
Thanks
All right.
so much.
Thank you, Holly. Back to you guys in the booth.
AJ Risley, the official mascot of this year's Fall Fest. Clearly, he's that's where he's hanging out. But I guess when you're not playing, you get to have a lot of fun too. So thanks, AJ. Thanks, big thanks to Holly. Val, I mean, she had reiterated exactly what you said. She likes playing in the woods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Any score that you see Holly Finley's name just creeping up the leaderboard, it's likely a wooded course. She feels at home there. She's got just a really also a methodical throw, but she's just so on point with her drive. So, you know, those players that are good in the woods, and when you see them doing well out here at Brewster's Ridge, you know they're good in the woods. And I didn't know about the power lipstick, though. That's something I never tried. How about you?
Oh, definitely.
You tried it?
Oh, many times.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's worked out well. 2005, there's not a lot of video of it, but I was wearing power lipstick that whole time. So at any rate, thanks to both of them, and congrats to Holly for a solid round. It was a good time for her. She had 4 bogeys, 3 birdies to finish 1 over par. Moved up 5 spots, as we mentioned, and really kind of at this point could potentially move up a couple more tomorrow, but she's going to go with the chip, chip, chip putt. I've heard that many times before. I don't know how well it's going to work, but only time will tell. And here's Sarah Hokom. Hailey King has sort of been battling down this fairway. And again, I think the biggest thing for Hailey is just patience. She's got to be a little bit more patient. Hokom going to have yet another tap in. At this point, I think I only have seen Sarah miss the putt on hole 1. Everything else, she's either had a tap in or has been able to get that putt into the basket. So Sarah looking pretty good to this point around the basket.
The longer putt she's going for. She's trying to make something happen, but in the end, I mean, just dropping it in for par, it's not such a bad thing. And that's where Kristin Tattar ended up. That's where the straight shots end up. You don't really have a look for a putt. Kind of just have to find the most open route, lay it up under the basket.
Yeah, and again, you could kind of see Hailey's reaction there. I mean, that was a tough putt. It wasn't as if it was one that was absolutely supposed to be made. She's certainly trying to save the par, but you can see the frustration, you know, and I think it's just patience, her understanding her game a little bit more, understanding how the women's game is played, and also just understanding the situation, the scenario. You know, at this point, you're playing a game against Cox and Tattar, and you got to just you got to stay in it throughout the entire day and the entire weekend.
Ooh, and Rebecca running that one. I think it sailed a little bit too far past. She's going to have some trees to deal with on her comeback putt. But man, that's an unnecessary stroke to have to deal with. It looks like AJ Risley is with Missy Gannon. So we're going to throw it over and see how Missy's round ended up.
Are back with the post-round interviews. I'm AJ Risley. I'm joined by Missy Gannon. Missy, how you doing?
I'm great, as always.
As always, I guess when you're the putting world champ, it's pretty easy to feel great. How'd it go out there today on Brewster Ridge?
It started off really well. I had a couple of early bogeys, but then I got one of the big par 4s. I think it was hole, I want to say 7. I got, and that felt really good. We have a little bit of a shorter tee pad, and we can attack it a little bit easier now. And yeah, I just had 2 really great shots and pretty much a 20-footer for the birdie. So kind of bounced back really quickly, got another birdie on, I think, 9, and so I got myself back to even pretty quickly. Then I kind of faltered on the back 9 a little bit, but ended up shooting 66, which in this wind, and we had a little bit of weather this morning, so I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, sounds like a good score. Now you're moving out of the woods into the Open tomorrow, Fox Run Meadows. You look super excited for that. Hopefully there's not as much wind out there. I am feeling for the AM division today as they're out there in the wide open meadows. But tomorrow, can you tell me one thing that you did well yesterday that you're looking to repeat, and then one thing maybe that you want to improve upon?
Sure, yeah. Yesterday was a tough one for me. I still was able to manage my, smiles and everything, but that's just how I play. It was definitely tough, and I think that there's really not much worse I could do out there, so I'm the best at what I do, and I just need to throw every shot confidently. I do have a tough time in the wind sometimes, so I just have to remember that I can do this and just manage the wind.
That is a great attitude to have. Pro tip for everybody at home, just keep smiling. Yeah. You'll be just fine. Missy, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you, AJ.
Good luck the rest of the tournament, and see you tonight at Fall Fest?
Yes, you will.
Yes! All right, here we go.
Thanks so much.
All right, back to you, Nate and Val, in the booth.
I love AJ's pro tips. It's like, oh, it's as simple as this, just pro tip.
Right.
Here we are on hole 17, par 4, 530 feet. Starts off with a big drive. Again, keeping it in the fairway is key. Here's the landing zone. If you had the most perfect drive, you'd be there. The second shot is another drive up to the basket. As we can see, it's tucked in just a little bit on the left-hand side. It's really set up pretty well for a backhand throw. We're going to see how Sarah Hokom's able to maneuver, especially that second shot, that up shot toward the basket. Really, I think the hardest part of this hole is this drive, making sure you're getting enough distance to get you to that corner.
It's true. And we saw, wow, Kristin got through a long ways on that right side. She's going to potentially have a look up the fairway. But you're right. This is a tough hole. I don't consider this as much of a pitfall hole for Hokom, as just because there's not a lot of OB. So she's not going to exponentially gain strokes. But yeah, it's a tough hole, and I'm sure she's got her game plan on it. But yeah, big thanks to AJ and Missy for that interview, taking some time for us. Hokom's got this just beaded right down the middle. And look at that, yet again, landing in the short grass, if you will, here on this wooded course. And just another beautifully executed throw by Sarah Hokom. There's no question why she's 7 strokes in the lead.
And what we did miss in the interview, Rebecca Cox was not able to hit that comeback putt. So she carded a bogey there on hole 16 after having a very clean back 9 to that point. Hailey King carded a double bogey.
Now we see Hailey just confused, and it kicked back in the middle. Let's take a short break, and we'll catch up with them here in just a minute.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
What do you think flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. This is a good disc right here.
Purple and orange. Got it. 2 more.
Danny, this is a sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen.
Cheers.
As we're back with Hailey, just throwing a sidearm there. I question the sidearm, but maybe it's because of the stance. As you figured from right that position, backhand would be ideal, finishing left towards the basket. But either way, she's now 2 strokes on this 17th hole.
That shot didn't turn out too bad. She's going to have another little pitch to the basket from there. About 70 feet. But Hokom is just in an ideal spot.
Yep, she just pitches it down around and maybe has a 40-foot putt, walk away with a par. And I mean, this is just a part of the routine at this point. I think we're all falling into a routine. Sarah Hokom has not taken a stroke on the plus side since the second hole where she took a 5. She had a bad tee shot, got up 5. But other than that, she's picked up 2 birdies and the rest have been pars. It's just precision, surgical precision here at Brewster Ridge. It's incredible. Nice play. One thing I'd like to mention, though, too, while Sarah's just getting ready, Missy Gannon sort of talking a little bit about the wind and not playing well in the wind. For me, the wind is something that you just can't predict. You don't know when it's going to gust. You don't know where it is. It's invisible in that sense. I think you have to just go out there and say, pick a shot and stick with it. And whatever happens, happens. It's just, I don't think there's any real right or wrong way of playing in the wind, except the more, times you do it, the better you get at it.
And the less that you're thinking so hard about it.
Right.
I think when you're just starting out, it plays into every little bit of it. But the more you play in the wind, the more experienced you are and how it's actually going to affect your shot, and knowing that you can just power through it and commit to your shot, and you're going to be just fine. Even with putting, even in the wind, I kind of like headwind putts. I know that a headwind putt, if I just leave it nice and flat, it's going to carry into the heart of the chains.
Yeah, I mean, you have always said that you do like headwind putts versus tailwind putts. And a lot of players it's the exact opposite. They like the guaranteed drop versus the guaranteed
So you can't
lift.
rely on that drop. I always get, I
Right.
would never trust my drop.
Ooh, just hit that corner tree there. It's a visual fake out, as it looked like it was almost hitting the basket. But she's going to have a birdie opportunity here on 17.
You can see the basket still displayed with the Worlds. It was the premier event here out at Smuggler's Notch. Wow. She pured it so far.
She's around those trees even.
Yeah, I've never seen the view from here.
And it totally takes the angle away from throwing a backhand, and that's why we're seeing her forced to throw this little sidearm.
It's going to make it really tough to get into where the basket is, but wow, that was a great shot. She's right there on the edge. I started talking to kind of doubt what angle she had, but she was able to really punch it up there. That's going to be a drop in for Kristin. And here we have Hailey throwing her third shot.
And there's that jump putt. that it seems like she really relies on that. I mean, she executed that very, very well. There's no doubt. But most cases, that's just a little chip, a little throw in, little throw. And she's got it down to where she's able to jump putt it. So good for her, but could be something to keep an eye on in the future.
And here was that little bit of a difficult upshot for Sarah Hokom. Just with that sidearm, she's not able to penetrate far enough in there to give her a birdie putt. So she's finishing here on the right-hand side and just a little bit past that opening. I mean, in the end, lay it under the basket and walk away with your par wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Nope. That's what she's trying to do at this point.
Literally testing out all different types of shots.
Yeah.
The putt, the sidearm, a roller, an Anheuser backhand.
I think just how long this is taking her goes to show you how difficult this, what is this? Let's just call it 40 feet. There's 40 feet left in the hole, 45 maybe. But there's a wall of forest between her and the basket. Oh, and able to get it perfectly through there. Nice shot there by our leader. She's going to have a tap in par. And now we'll have a putt from Rebecca Cox. And Rebecca able to just sneak it up and over the rim there for birdie, as well as we're going to have Kristin Tattar now sneaking in here for her birdie putt. Don't want to count it for her already, but I'm really confident. And there you go. That's a birdie for Kristin. So Kristin and Rebecca are going to go one stroke under par there and go 7 under and 3 under, or 3 over and 7 over respectively. Hailey's going to have this for par. Able to tap that in. And the battle for second place is continuing with Tattar and Cox and King. And there's Sarah able to tap in her par. She's in a class of her own, as she's been all day. Hole 18, Val. Last hole here at Brewster Ridge.
We're on the last hole. We made it. High fives around. 345-foot par 3. This hole's really fun. Another one of those kind of flip up backhand shots. You want to get over that bush we just passed and work your shot in toward the basket. The key here is keeping it high. You got to throw it high enough so that you clear over that bush and you can give yourself a putt. We see a lot of shots here. I don't know. There's something about just how the trees and the bushes hang into the fairway. You can get hung up there, but hitting that line, hitting it high, and making sure it carries far enough. It's a pretty simplistic hole to finish on. You know, we've played all these other holes out here at Brewster, a lot of out of bounds. The fairways just tighten up just so much. This one's a little bit of a relief.
Mm-hmm.
This one's kind of your one last chance at a birdie.
Yeah, I would agree. Really. Let's bring up the top 10 leaderboard here right quick, because the one thing we got to mention, Paige Pierce. Now, I was a few holes ago, I said, yeah, we're done with her for now. But she finished with 3 straight birdies to finish 2 over par for the round. She's at 11, so she's sneaking into the conversation depending on how Hailey finishes this 18th hole, because if Hailey were to bogey, Paige Pierce is in our lead car tomorrow. So nice finish by Paige to put herself in position going into tomorrow. Oh, Kristin on the edge. Oh, she got around it. She got around that corner, and she's in the open. You're right, though. 18 is simplistic, kind of similar to hole 1. I mean, 1 and 18 are similar in that fashion, and it's definitely one you want to get, but it's also one you can make a mistake on. If you get caught up in the left side, there's just, yeah, there's all kinds of little things you can deal with here.
Hailey's trying to get a little bit of energy back there. Bouncing around, getting the legs started. Sarah Hokom. She's had this cool, calm demeanor about her today.
He's asking for it to kick, and there it is. It's in the short grass. Yeah, we saw it just outside the flag of the 66-foot flag. Hailey on a good line, asking for it to go left. And there we are, hole 18. Let's take our last commercial break. We'll catch up with our ladies in here in just a minute. Here's Rebecca. A little chip hyzer around there, and she's executed that perfectly. And with that drive by Hailey in the middle, depending on what happens here on the green, it's going to look like we're going to keep the same card for tomorrow. So that's kind of something to look forward to. Kristin has moved into just 6 throws back of Hokom, and with the big course that we have tomorrow, I think anything is possible still yet. But certainly Sarah has not only played well today, but she has the hot score on the round at 1 under par. Tattar and Cox are at even, so they've played very well. Tatar's really done it up and down. Cox has done it fairly steady. And that pretty much makes it official. Hokom will finish 1 under par. Now we're going to see Hailey stepping in. With her putt, we know this is a run for sure. Got to be careful going long.
Ooh, and catches a little bit of top of the basket. That will just be a drop in for Hailey. Wow. Look at the wind blowing. You can see the flag on the top of the basket. As AJ mentioned, feeling for those AMs out there at Fox Run. Thankfully, the pros didn't have to deal with it too much. And a little high for Kristin.
I say give the AMs all the wind they can handle. They need the experience. We do this for a living, so I always hope for the better weather for us. But yeah, this is an important putt for Hailey. It seems simple, but there's and maybe she's not even aware of it, but this is important. This keeps her in the group for tomorrow. and able to execute it.
And just like that, we're going to see the other 3 players just dropping in their par putts. And as you said, we will see all 4 of these players in tomorrow's round 4 of the Discraft Green Mountain Championship presented by Grip Equipment. We're heading over to Fox Run tomorrow, so that's going to change up the game plan. But it's a pretty solid day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things to talk about here in the woods. It's fun to see how steady Sarah's game just continues to be. You know, it doesn't seem there's a lot of pressure going on right now. Nobody's, forcing her to execute these shots, but she's sticking to her game plan, knowing when to go for things, knowing when to lay up, even if it seems very, very easy to us. Like, oh, she's giving up that stroke. She's sticking to her game plan. Kristin Tattar kind of up and down throughout the round today, had a lot of great moments, awesome putts. She had a handful of birdies, but then at the same time, a couple double bogeys and bogeys.
Right.
Rebecca Cox, clean back 9, but that front 9 is really what got her into trouble. But she was able to capitalize it at the end of the round, making up for that bogey stroke we saw as she went for that long putt. I believe it was on hole 16, but able to make up for that with a birdie.
Yeah.
Hailey, she had some struggles out there. Seemed like she was forcing the shots to happen. Kept ending up on the sides of the fairway and just struggling the entire way, battling through the rough the entire way on a multitude of holes. So Hailey had a rough round out there, but we will be seeing her in tomorrow's round.
Yeah, I mean, group's going to stay the same tomorrow, everybody. So it'll be the same time, 9 o'clock on the east, 6 out here on the west. It's always a nice little early morning for us. But tomorrow's Championship Sunday. So Sarah Hokom in the lead. She's playing great. Let's see if she can hold on. Don't go anywhere, though, because we got Sarah Hokom. There's a little bit of a walk. They got to do their scores, but we're going to see an interview with Sarah here in just a few minutes. So we'll continue to talk. The big thing for me really taking away, this is the first time I've really seen Hailey King play this much. It was just patience. I mean, that's all it was. It seems like it was one bad shot and then, oh my God, the world's ending, and that's something that she's going to have to clean up. Game-wise, she's got the game. She can throw the distance. She can make these long putts. She's got all of that put together. On the other hand, with Rebecca and Kristin, I mean, you really got to hand it to them because they didn't give up. They had some up and downs. Kristin finished with 2 birdies out of the last 5 holes. Rebecca got that bogey, but picked it up with a birdie on the very next hole. So happy to see them play well, and they've kind of kept it interesting in this regard because we're seeing a little bit of a spread there, but anything can happen tomorrow, and it's not like it's just over and we don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. And Sarah Hokom shoots the hot round of the day again out at Brewster Ridge, 1 under. She was leading the tournament after the first round with the 2 under, and Rebecca Cox was able to capitalize on that, but still a very solid round. And again, under par shooting, which is really great to see.
Yeah, the statistic that's probably jumping out in my head, and I don't have any hard numbers for this, but Sarah Hokom's ability to not get a lot of bogeys, right? That seems like her thing. Even 2 weeks ago at the MVP, she probably had the least bogeys of everybody, had not as many birdies as she would like, but finished, I think, in 3rd. And so, she's done that here this week, and bam, look at where she's sitting.
Yeah. And as a player, it's boring golf as a player.
Right.
When you're out there, you want to make these big putts and you want to get birdies and you want to see birdies on your scorecard. But sitting back here, we're looking at the scorecard and we're seeing how the other players are stacking up, and it's the errors that are really getting to them. So it's Sarah Hokom's just playing steady, just playing solid. It's everybody else that is just making these little mistakes, keeping them out of the running.
Yeah, I think hearing the 3 words that Sarah brought up that are written on her hand, it shows you how big this title really is. I mean, this is one that's been on everybody's bucket list for a long time. I mean, 5 years the tournament. This is the 6th year of this tournament. It's not like it's a 20-year-old event, but still, it's got a big title. There's a lot of money involved here. There's also just the fact that everybody loves to come to Vermont, and you get those good feelings when you come to Vermont. I know I certainly had those every time we were up there and playing. So I think it's kind of just that good vibes continuing to roll here. We still haven't seen Sarah come up into the interview area yet. So why don't we just take a short break, just maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and maybe just a little bit longer. But when we come back, don't go anywhere. We'll have Sarah Hokom's interview after this 3rd round. See you in just a minute or two.
You know, the Mach 7's a really great disc golf basket, but you know, it also makes a really good step stool. You know, say you got something up high, you need to reach. Oh, God.
Join us Saturday, September 14th for Fall Fest at Smuggler's Notch Resort. Vermont-based jazz fusion outfit Brick Drop gets the action started. Headliner Zach Nugent presents Fire on the Mountain. Special 2-day pricing is available now through September 8th. For more information, visit us at smuggs.com/fallfest.
I practice a lot. It's a vice. An escape from stress, from work. It's my chance to just get away during the week. It's like meeting up with an old friend, you know? I'll never get tired of that sound.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Sarah Hokom after round 3 at Brewster Ridge at the Green Mountain Championships. How do you feel about today?
I feel pretty good. You know, it always feels good to be under par on this course. It can really wreak havoc on your score if you just, have a couple bad drives. There's so many trees. So the conditions were quite a bit tougher out there today. A lot of wind, like you wouldn't expect wind to be in those dense woods, but it was gusting and then it would stop and then it would gust again. So definitely took a lot of patience before my pre-shot routine to make sure that the wind is cooperating.
Yeah, the rounds at Worlds, the front nine always played a lot cleaner for the ladies, or played a lot harder than the back nine did for the ladies. But today, Sarah had a really clean front nine. How did you feel about the front nine specifically?
Pretty good. I mean, I had an early bogey, I think hole 2, but I threw 2 bad shots. So that's what happens.
So obviously you stuck to your game plan out there today. It's very clear just from watching you play all day that you had a game plan and you stuck to it. What was your go-to driver for shredding those tight wooded fairways?
It's a toss-up between the relay and the crave. They're both really, really straight and really controllable. So it's playing point and shoot out there. I made some adjustments from round 1. I just made some notes in my little book and stuck to some of those. Had to make some on-course calls because of wind. But yeah, those 2 discs are so straight, easy control. Love it.
Yeah, it's really weird in a wooded course having to change your game plan at all for wind. But she did it really well out here. So the people in the booth want to know on a personal note about what's written on your hand, why it's written, what it means to you. Give us some details if it's not too personal.
Yeah, sure. So I have relax and hope with a smiley face and then process. So relax, for me, I just get really uptight when I'm on the lead card with the gallery and on live, disc golf TV. So I have to just remind myself to relax and breathe, and whatever happens is fine. And then the hope part is especially useful in the woods. I don't know, we've all kind of been in those mind frames where, everything seems to be going wrong, and then you kind of expect things to go wrong. So the hope part is just to remind me to always just hope, even if I throw a bad shot, that something good is going to happen. And if it doesn't, well, whatever. But if it does, then, just keep a positive, mind frame about it. And just you always hear me say, kick right, or kick left, or whatever. A little body English. Sit. Yes. So that just reminds me of that. And then process just reminds me to say my keywords in my head before I throw the shots. And then the smiley face is just, you're playing Frisbee. It's a good thing.
Why not have fun?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for talking with us, Hokom. I'm sure everyone appreciates that. And we'll see you on the lead card again tomorrow out at Fox Run, hopefully with a lot less wind. We'll see you in the morning.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Mad Dog out?
Yep, back to the booth.
Nice. Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, so big thanks to Sarah there for breaking down really what was on her hand. So Val, what do you think here about Sarah and about going into tomorrow?
My favorite word on her hand, and I think we can all take note of this, hope.
Right.
I mean, that word right there just puts her in the positive mind frame. Like she said, a lot of us, especially when you're in the woods, you hit a tree or you start getting these bad kicks, and you sink down into that negative mind frame. But for hope, thinking about that, thinking positively, even if you're not making all your putts, you can relate that to there. Hope them in, get them in positive mind frame. And I think that's really paying off for Sarah right now. Just keeping her calm and cool and positive is the keynote.
Yeah, for sure. She should write school on her hand because she's schooling these people, and she's in a class of her own this weekend, seriously. So we'll see if she can handle that, hang on with that tomorrow. And thanks for her interview for sure. So that's it for us here on the morning session. We have the guys coming up in just a little bit. I'm looking down. We have about an hour and a half or so, roughly, over to where we get to the men. So that's at 2:30 Eastern time, the men will tee off 11 o'clock out here on the West. And so we'll see you there. We're going to end it with an interview with Kristin Tattar and Madison Walker. So we've got Kristin. So stick around to hear from Kristin. But that's it from us here in the booth. And we'll see you in just about an hour and a half for the men. It's going to be a fun afternoon. We'll see you then.
And we're catching up with Kristin real quick after round 3. So she's been here since Worlds and will be here all the way through USDGC. How's your time in the United States?
Oh, it's been fun. We've played so many different courses. Every single time it's a great experience, and I just love touring here.
I know you told me yesterday that you really like playing the wooded courses because you like the ability to scramble instead of just going straight out of bounds like on Fox Run if you mess up a drive. How do you feel about how everything went today?
I think everything was pretty good. I just messed up a couple forehands, so I didn't feel very confident about my forehands. I guess I just have to practice more.
You did really well here at Worlds at both rounds at Brewster Ridge, and you're doing really well again this year at Brewster Ridge. So it's good to see you on the lead card. Are you excited about playing Fox again tomorrow?
I am. I'm just hoping that it won't be that windy again, because when we practiced it wasn't that windy, and I wasn't confident at all yesterday, so I might go and practice today, I bet.
That is the hard work that we like out here. Well, thank you for talking to us. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Thanks everybody who was watching, so I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you for tuning into the FPO coverage. We will see you bright and early in the morning. Back to the booth.